Oh. Trying to fake like I have energy, hoping it'll give me energy. Yeah.
This is Mornings with Brian Haldane. Who are you? Brian! Brian! I'm really playing something. Mornings are for coffee and contemplation. News and newsmakers. Coffee and contemplation. Traffic and weather.
I've been sitting here for 2.5 hours and I still don't know why.
Good morning. Great day in the morning, people. Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening.
Start your day with Baton Rouge's hub for information and opinion. Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion and here is Brian.
607 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane off and running on this Friday. I hope you're ready because you know how we do it. We don't coast into the weekend around here. We kick the weekend right in the pants. Got a big show lined up for you today. Ukraine's fighting back. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the Ukraine, baby. We're talking Russia and Ukraine a good bit this morning in our Cup of Tech Gumbo segment. Haggai Davis going to be talking about the virtual war and all the malware and everything else that's descended upon the Russians. We're also going to be talking about Russia and Ukraine from a local energy perspective. Scott Angelle used to be the lieutenant governor, used to head up the Bureau for Environmental Safety and Engineering, or Bureau for Safety and Environmental Engineering. It's one of the acronyms. Scott will be by or on the hotline at 7:15 to talk about more domestic energy. Coming up Monday, the Pelican Institute has their Solutions Summit. Daniel Erspaner heads up the Pelican Institute. Love having him on. He will join me at 7:35. By the way, programming note right now, let's get this out of the way. I'll be at the Solutions Summit on Monday. Broadcasting live. Not unlike we did for LABI's annual meeting. Similar kind of rundown there. We'll take the show on the road Monday. We'll get caught up with the rundown with Daniel at 7:35. 8:15 this morning. What's going on at New Schools for Baton Rouge? A lot of movement right now. They got a new executive director. There's a whole slew of new schools ready to roll in. And subsequently, there will be a job fair as well. Emily LeBeau from, I believe, Teach 225 is going to hop on the hotline at 8:15 to talk about that. Then we're going to round things out, talking Lent, all things Lent with Rocco from Rocco's Po' Boys. Oh, he doesn't just do roast beef. I mean, nobody does roast beef better. But need some fried shrimp? He's got you. Maybe a little oyster po' boy? He's got you. Maybe I could talk him into a seafood muffalata. I don't know. Takes some doing. Rocco will be by at 8:35 to round out the show. Plus, we'll have top stories of trending. We'll have the outside in. Cade Wassan is in this morning as Jake is out for a couple of days. By the way, appreciation to Taylor Sharp for filling in yesterday. Cade, good morning, brother. How are you?
Doing fine.
Getting caught up to speed?
Yeah, sometimes, just takes a second to ride a bike. Although I've been trying to teach my daughter how to learn a bike. And
An actual
I
bike?
there. Yeah.
Not wide orbit?
No. And sometimes riding a bike takes a little while.
It does.
In this case, maybe not as much. And I did AFR yesterday.
Oh, I
Our
got
sister
AFR
station,
today.
So that was another, hopping on the bike thing. Oh, wait, give me a segment and then and a little more coffee and I'm fine. And it just... Yeah, sometimes it takes a minute.
All right. Well, we'll be off and running soon. Tell you what, let's lead things off here. In this opening segment, it's going to run long. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'll lead things off with the latest COVID numbers. We haven't talked COVID in a good bit, at least not in any significant way. You heard the story in CBS News about the latest from the CDC. We'll get to that in a sec. Yesterday, the state reporting on LDH's handy-dandy dashboard, 607 new cases, 34 new deaths, 394 COVID patients in Louisiana hospitals. CDC's reporting on levels right now. You heard more than 90% of America. Actually, technically, it's 90% of American counties are at a low level right now. So let's talk about levels versus risk. Every week I get a bunch of emails from the CDC breaking down everything from the latest COVID trends to who's most likely to commit suicide. The CDC covers a lot of ground. And they're based out of Atlanta, so they have a 28-3 lead on everything. One update yesterday, you heard about it in CBS News, caught my eye. It included a county-by-county, or in our case, parish-by-parish breakdown of COVID levels. Would it shock you? Did it shock you to hear what you heard in CBS News? Would it shock you to learn that half of the parishes in Louisiana, including our entire listening area, are registering, according to the Centers for Disease Control, as having low community spread? Roughly the other half, -3, are listed as medium. Then there's Tensas, Concordia, and Caldwell listed as high. And that's it. Big whoop, right? But here's the thing. LDH's handy-dandy dashboard that we turn to darn near every day is showing a lot more red, like 24 parishes at high risk, a majority at substantial risk, St. Helena, West Feliciana, and Red River at moderate, nobody at low. CDC says 90% of us are at low. LDH says nobody at low. By the way, Vernon Parish, not even registering. It's in white, like they took their COVID ball and went home. So why the disparity? Well, giving it a minute, had to really dig through it, occurred to me. The CDC is looking at caseload. LDH is looking at risk. So on that dashboard, the dashboard that so many of us have used as a vital resource, we're not being judged on what we're doing or what we've done. We're being judged on what could be, the risk. If you scroll through the graphs and maps on the dashboard, you'll eventually get to the one that shows percent positivity being down at 55 of 64 parishes. But the first thing we see every time you hop on there is a slew of red right in your face. Not recorded numbers, risk, potential. Now, I don't know if this is just a latency thing, if the maps haven't caught up with actual time. But man, every time I see that, it feels that now that I know we're low, it feels like we're being blamed for something we didn't do. I see it. You ever have your wife blame you for something she dreamed about? That's kind of what it feels like. You ever have to sit through a training at work because of something that happened at another company? That's kind of what it feels like. Meanwhile, we're 124 patients away from where we were when they first recorded patients in the hospital with COVID on March 24th of 2020. 205 away from last November 24th when they were at their lowest in the pandemic. We're down by 1,973 COVID patients in the hospital in under 2 months. I don't know about you. I'm not seeing red. I'm feeling like we're kind of strong in the pandemic right now. We're kind of long in the segment right now. We got to take a break. Coming back, talking sports next on Talk 107.3.
We're 20 minutes from, actually 10 minutes from the wayward rockets hitting the moon. 6:24 our time. Big old crater. But NASA couldn't get the satellites around, so they're not going to have any live views of the action because it's hitting the dark side of the moon.
Is there any debris that would fall?
Oh, there's going to be debris. There's going to be a big old crater left. The moon's kind of used to getting hit, but just not by a rocket. Well, initially they thought it was a with the SpaceX rockets.
Let's lead with that, by the way.
But it's they did the calculations and it's not. They're pretty sure it's a Chinese rocket.
Pretty sure. Pretty sure it's a Chinese rocket. We did that bid last time. There's so many rockets. We just, hey, Ted, is that your rocket? Man, hell, I don't know. Man. Oh, man. Look, my wife handles all that. Don't ask me about former Rockets. She knows this stuff.
Kid was yes because it's not me.
Ain't. Does it have a bumper sticker with all the stick children on it? That's how you know whose rocket it is.
The bumper stickers in Mandarin. Okay,
That's, yeah.
Hold my beer, watch this.
That's
In Mandarin, you know where it's going.
make rockets great again. You know where that one started?
Yeah, Florida.
Don't- Interestingly enough, though, the bumper sticker just says Dole Kemp. That's a weird headline. Russian troops capture nuclear plant. Capture, as opposed to burn it to the ground.
They tried to do that.
Vladimir, we're not going to need lights when we move in?
So we don't need lights.
No. Hey, you know that country that's like a suburb of Chernobyl? Light them up!
They captured Chernobyl as well. Okay, good. What you gonna do with that?
Yeah, I've seen.
They're real happy. Oh boy, look at that.
I've seen more sought-after bus stations. 618 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP, the home of LSU women's sports, right here on Talk 107.3 FM. And the Lady Tigers play at 6 o'clock tonight, attempting to earn their first championship in the Southeastern Conference since 2003. Tigers have been a surprising story throughout the season. Kim Mulkey won 11 tournament titles at Baylor, but she feels what a team does in the regular season carries much more weight than what happens over the course of one weekend. 18, please.
The regular season in conference is just the most important part of your season. Anybody can get on a roll and win 3 games in a row and become the Cinderella and all that.
Tigers will face the Kentucky Wildcats, who extended their winning streak to 6 games with yesterday's win over Mississippi State. Kentucky is led by 2-time All-American Ryan Howard, who averaged 20 points per game, earned her first-team All-SEC honors this season for the 4th time. Mulkey shares her thoughts on the resurgent Wildcats.
Kentucky's on a roll. All their players are healthy now. Suspensions seem to be lifted, and they've won a lot of games in a row to finish 8. What would they finish? 500 in the league, I think. So they're good, but it seems that they have everybody back and playing very good now.
Did Kentucky win that game yesterday? It was Kentucky versus Mississippi State. Yeah. All right. Well, 6 p.m. tonight's your tip-off, 5:30 pregame. Patrick Wright will be on the call right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Meanwhile, third-ranked LSU baseball team getting ready for a big trip to Houston, Texas, where tonight they will be playing against Blake Money will take the hill against Oklahoma. Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball talks about OU's strength being on their pitching. That's cut 16, please.
LSU's first test from a pitching standpoint against that LSU offense all year long. When you look at Oklahoma's pitching so far this year, they've really pitched a high level. Offense has been their issue, but if you look at their pitching, Jake Bennett has been outstanding for them.
That game will be on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. I'm looking up at the clock. We're already late for Fox Business Report. All right, we're back on track now. We'll be back on time now. Yeah, I heard. I was producing the game. Yeah, Kentucky 83-67 over Mississippi State. All right. I sent you an email with a link to a YouTube. All right. It's ready to roll. Be on the pre-roll ad. Yep. Whoop. Hold off on that until that point. And we've yet to be smacked down by YouTube's for violating any kind of licensing or whatever. Oh, can you refresh the camera? It looks like we're frozen. I don't know. Shake it. I know, we've done it before. Let me see. I guess I can leave the camera shut because it's frozen. Hey, look, I'm still in.
I love banking local. It goes bank and trust. Maybe you're looking to plan your future, grow your business, save for a rainy day, or just looking for a bank that cares about you. The team at Gold Bank and Trust can help make it happen. Visit goldbank.com.
Do I have a live read yet? Mooyah! So I'm going to do a little bit later. I'm going to do Go Slim first. And Doug. And I think I finally figured out what I was doing wrong with moving my live reads and then not leaving room for a promo. I wasn't hitting apply. Okay.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
All right. Screen's back up. You have the Fitbit Versa 3?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one I have. I think I'm about to buy. Oh. .624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Cup of Tech Gumbo coming your way about 11 minutes from right now. 47 seconds ago, a rocket smacked into the moon. We're probably going to talk about that. Try and figure out whose rocket it was. Who left this rocket here? If you can't pick up your stuff, we're going to throw it out. The state's going to transfer more
You
than...
said Roger Clemens?
No,
not
that rocket.
Okay.
No, not that rocket. I said it was going to crash into the moon, not be injected. Hey-o! Too soon? The state will transfer more than 600 people currently serving time at the Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola to the Allen Correctional Center in Kinder due to a major staffing shortage. In all, 602 inmates, or about 12% of Angola's current population of 5,100, will be moved. Department of Corrections Undersecretary Thomas Bickham said efforts to attract staff have failed to yield results.
We've been able to do things over the years from a pay perspective, as recent as last year, doing a special interest rate and some premium pay, but it's not having the effect that we had anticipated.
So, DOC officials believe the area surrounding the Allen Correctional Center is better suited to recruit employees than Angola. Imagine that. Which is located in West Feliciana Parish. Allen Parish has about 10,000 more residents than its more rural counterpart.
I think they have a little bit more of an area to pull from to get these employees, but the warden there's been doing a really good job of attracting good employees and keeping them.
I mean, that sounds like a shot at West Feliciana Parish, which Parish President Kenny Havard is doing a fantastic job. Outside of the prison, the 5,100 inmate prison, they've been low on the COVID numbers, solid on the jobs outside of the prison. I mean, it's a nice little bedroom community. It's quaint. It's beautiful. Last month, state lawmakers approved the transfer of $2.6 million for 130 open positions from Angola to the Allen facility. DOC expects to hire at least 60 new staff members at Allen this month. Not enough to supervise all 602 prisoners, though. Bickham says the transfers will take place in stages to keep from transferring the problem from one facility to another.
We're not moving all 600 at one time. We realize they're not going to be able to hire all 130 employees at one time. So we are taking a staged approach, doing it in thirds.
Okay.
Third in April, third in May, and a third in June.
I mean, this is just set up to be a movie, right? Or a Fox TV series. Anyway, 5,100 inmates in Angola. You realize that's larger than the population of Marksville? That's about 150 more than Port Allen. Jeanerette has 4,813 people. 5,100. That's a big. That's a city. Basically, is where we're going with this. Get back into it in just a second. Hey, it is Friday, which means 10 o'clock this morning. Actually, about 10:15 because I'm going to be running late. Go Slim Nutrition, corner of Bluebonnet at Perkins. I go in for my weigh-in. If you're looking for a way to count down to summer by making some healthier lifestyle choices, by knocking off a few pounds, you know, by the official start of summer, you could easily lose 25 pounds like that. The folks at Go Slim are here for you, y'all. 763-9600 is the phone number. 763-9600 is the phone number. Ask about a jumpstart plan. Get yourself on the path to heart health, a little bit slimmer, a little bit more energy. It's all part of the overall program, and you could be on your way. GEAUX SlimBR.com is the website for Go Slim Nutrition. All right, we got news coming up in about 2.5 minutes. Oh, I don't know if CBS covered this or not. Did you see where Russian television is shutting down American operations? This is huge. The management of RT, the international Russian government-funded television network, informed its staff of American and Russian broadcasters that it is shutting down operations of its Washington, D.C.-based U.S. operations, RT America. RT America going away. Effective immediately. Get this. Due to the condemnation it's receiving from the United States as a result of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. They don't like being talked poorly about, y'all. So they're shutting down Russian television in America. They had an all-hands-on-deck staff meeting held at the network's state-of-the-art headquarters in Washington, D.C. yesterday. And they said, no, we're cutting it down. So, bad news. If you needed to get caught up on CSI Moscow or Law & Order Capitalist Pigs Unit, you're just out of luck. If you were looking to binge watch episodes of Putin Knows Best or Everybody Loves Lenin, no. You're going to have to find a new show. The Russian television network is shutting it down. The Russian television network, where Rocky IV is only a half an hour long and it ends when Apollo dies. The Russian television network, where they play Red Dawn in reverse. And don't forget about that must-see Thursday night lineup that's centered all around comrades. I looked so hard to find a Russian version of this song just for that punchline. Must see TV. You must see TV. Not anymore, though. Russian TV shutting it down. All right, we'll get the latest from Russia and Ukraine from CBS News. We'll check our local news, traffic, weather. Cup of Tech Gumbo coming your way. Haggai Davis is in. Let's talk about Russia and Ukraine on a virtual front. Coming up next on Talk 107.3. Yeah, do you believe them? No radioactive leak. That's the same thing they said when Chernobyl happened.
All good here.
We're fine. Oh, that would be a good bit. Do Han Solo from Star Wars? We had a slight weapons malfunction. We're fine. How are you?
Everything good. Go home.
Pay attention to that glow going on behind me. That's just my aura.
I'm all about it.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Oh, Troy! You forgot about the Real Housewives of Leningrad. Good one. Good one. I like it. All right. Comment your Russian television shows, please.
That's a show my wife would watch.
Real Housewives of Leningrad? Oh,
She loves Real Housewives.
Christy watches all of them. It's escapism for her, and I understand that she likes it. They're just bad people.
It makes my spine hurt when I walk to the room and I hear those cackling women screaming at each other.
So I can actually watch New Jersey. New Jersey I can handle. Salt Lake City is the worst, though.
We all have like a tag. Like,
Yeah.
New Jersey's not just me. I don't know, like,
Right.
stuff like
I am Queens Boulevard, or whatever.
You would never be friends with any of the characters that they are playing on TV.
Right.
Because that's not who they are in real life.
Right.
Obviously.
Well, they've replaced soap operas. That's all it is. It's a soap opera. Let's go back to watching Stephen A. Smith.
They find the one thing about the people that's real, that's a little bit like on the sensational side, and go play that up.
Yeah.
Pretty much, like play that up a lot.
Yeah.
And then it becomes just this fake dramatization of their lives. You ever seen the real? Was it the one Kevin Hart put together? The Real Husbands of.
No.
It's like him, like freaking ludicrous. I don't know. It's all these like.
I would watch that. That would be worthwhile. Bro, Yakov Smirnov? Oh, yeah. In Soviet Russia. Yeah, he's in Branson.
Did you hear that spot, by the way, that Engelberg Humperdinck is going to be at Rouge?
What?
He runs on Eagle. He's alive? Playing all his hits. Coming up pretty soon.
Wow.
Get your tickets. The man,
Let's not make a deal. I remember Saturday Night Live did one. Instead of who wants to be a millionaire, it's who wants to eat. Yes, I would like food, please. I need water. Let's check out those cams. Yes, it is time for a cup of tech gumbo. Joining me in studio now, Haggai Davis. Haggai, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Brian.
We've got a lot of ground to cover on Russia and Ukraine, a lot of which is going to be covered on Tech Gumbo, presented, as you heard, by Cardinal Capital and General Informatics, which you catch Saturday and Sunday at 4 right here or anywhere you get your podcast. But before we get into the Russia and Ukraine stuff, you were telling me something earlier in the show that I completely forgotten about. You had mentioned last week, and then out of sight, out of mind. And when you're on the dark side of the moon, you are really out of sight. A rocket just smacked into the moon.
Yes, roughly 15 minutes ago, 10, 15 minutes ago, the wayward Chinese rocket crashed into the dark side of the moon.
What happens then?
Well, there's the Lunar Reconnaissance Satellite, which will pass over. NASA couldn't get it in place to have it live, but they'll hover over and get a view of the damage. They'll see the crater that was left behind. And
what's the dark side of the moon? Where they like the satellite's got a Q beam on it or something?
I would imagine radar imaging. Sure.
Okay, that's no fun. I'm thinking just like full on like redneck going to see what you hit on the road type.
It's got a big flashlight it can point down at.
That's where I'm going with this. Is hey, shine that over there, man. Let's see where that rocket hit. So what happens? Like debris pops up. I mean, where does that go?
Well, so the moon does have some gravitational pull. So whatever hit is going to probably stay on the surface of the moon.
Okay.
There'll be some parts of it that the impact may have thrown it back out into space, and it'll be orbiting around the moon forever.
But like dust cloud, that sort of thing, couldn't that turn into a storm that moves our side, the good side of the moon, this side of the moon tracks?
Don't know if there's enough that kind of a atmosphere to hold that. Not that much of a lunar expert.
I have a feeling we're listening to Dark Side of the Moon right now.
We might be listening to the Dark Side.
I like it. Now, this doesn't sound like something that happens very often.
Well, this is the first time an out-of-control rocket has hit the moon. Yes. But, the moon's kind of been hit a lot. You can see all the craters all over it over the billions of years that it's been up there.
Mm-hmm. The part that I found most fascinating about this was when you were first telling me about the story, they didn't know if it was a SpaceX. They thought it was a SpaceX rocket, but turns out that it's not. That's the part that baffles me. There is so much stuff in space that we can't keep track of what belongs to who anymore.
There's been some 50,000 rockets that have been launched over the past 50, 60 years of space exploration. Mm-hmm. And when you have that many debris, that many rockets floating around up there, most of which have crashed back into the Earth's atmosphere and melted, on re-entry. But there's a lot that are still floating around up there, and some of them have broken the surly bonds of Earth's gravitational pull.
What? So that's the other question, though, is once they're gone, where do they go?
Well, remember, Brian, we've discussed this. Space is big.
Space is yes. That was the theme a couple weeks ago. Space is big, but is it possible that we're just like invading other planets without our knowledge?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, because even the Elon Musk, when he put up the Starman, the red Tesla that had the astronaut suit in the driver's seat, somewhere over the next 10,000 years, it's going to impact Mars. It's on that same orbital track. So
and that's what's going to get their attention, and that's when the little green people are going to start attacking us. Is when we inadvertently hit them.
Somewhere over the next 10,000 years, you and I will be here on the radio talking about it.
You ever accidentally run over an ant pile with a lawnmower and you don't see it, so you step in it after you run it over? That's what's going to happen. That's how space wars are going to start. Cade is all over it this morning. That's awesome.
Cade, you are having fun. You're on fire.
All right. We got a lot of Russia and Ukraine stuff to talk about. I'm going to hold off on spotting Russia-Ukraine disinformation for a little bit, but I want to start with the Ukrainian Volunteer IT Army. They appeared to bring down the Moscow Exchange website and a number of others, suggesting the digital front of the conflict is entering a new phase. Ukraine has an IT army?
There are some 200,000 people. Now remember, Ukraine is a country of 40 million people.
Yes.
They claim there's 200,000 people who are participating in attacking Russian websites. They're doing direct denial of service attacks on Russian banks and hospitals and businesses to shut them down. So the battle of the ones and zeros versus the bombs and bullets is they're fighting back.
Ukrainian Minister of Digital Transformation, Mikhailo Fedorov, on Saturday called for volunteer hackers to follow a Telegram channel dedicated to listing potential targets, saying on Twitter, "There will be tasks for everyone. We will continue to fight on the cyber front." How much of the cyber front can translate into the real front? For example, a convoy that's supposed to go to Kyiv is now just sitting on the side of the road. And how much of those things are computer controlled?
Well, I don't know that these guys they're called hacktivists. I don't know that they can get into the Russian military to do something like that, but they can disrupt the day-to-day lives of Russian citizens. And that's the whole goal, is to make it uncomfortable so that the Russians will sit there and complain back to Putin and say, hey, why are you doing this? Shut this. Quit that. They're screwing with my day-to-day life. I'm just trying to get across town to go to work.
Right. So this translates into another story that you had sent over. As tanks rolled into Ukraine, so did malware. Then Microsoft entered the war.
So Microsoft, most people don't realize just how much cyber security Microsoft gets involved with. And they have a whole detection unit. They started seeing malware, impacting Ukrainian websites or Ukrainian businesses, and the first thing they did is they called the Pentagon, the White House, somebody in D.C. and said, "Hey, look, we've seen this malware happening. We're working on a fix. Please work with us." And they came up with a strategy. They figured out how to stop this malware. They released the information to all the firewall companies. And so they've been fighting back. I mean, Microsoft did a good job here. There's a lot of times when I'm not always the biggest fan of what Microsoft does.
What?
This was a good one.
On this segment? That's about as obvious as space is big. All right, got about a minute and a half left till break. Actually, got less than a minute till break. So let me set the table for where we're going after the break. 6 ways to spot Russia-Ukraine disinformation. This is something that I talked with a former CIA officer about earlier in the week, and it is fascinating, to say the least. We're going to dive into it a little bit after our break. Got some other topics to talk about as well, some non-Russia-Ukraine stuff, not the least of which is autonomous cars are, if you'll pardon the pun, on the move. Don't pardon that pun. That pun's terrible.
Okay.
Taking a quick break. When we come back, before we take that break, though, take a quick break. When we come back, more of a cup of tech gumbo. Before we take that break, though, need to remind you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. You know where to find them. 19511 Plank Road in Zachary or 9848 Perkins Road in Baton Rouge. Although their physical address doesn't really matter, because if you need them, you're probably taking a tow truck to get there. The tow truck driver knows how to get to them. Because, well, you're going to call them first, right? You're calling them first at 768-9898. 768-9898. Why are you calling your collision center first? Why not your insurance company? Because your insurance company needs to make sure that you are repaired and back on the road in a cost-effective manner. That's their primary concern. Now, you visit Complete Collision Center, and you're going to have safety be the primary concern. They're not going to charge you an arm and a leg, but they're going to make sure you're safe first and foremost. Insurance companies have deals hammered out with, they're called direct repair shops. You don't want to slip into that trap. You want to make sure your family is safe, your car is back on the road as new at CompleteCollision.com. 768-9898. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out CompleteCollision.com. All right, the other one's Baton Rouge Mattress. Kate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Baton Rouge Mattress, Mooyah, Collision. And then Ghost Them was next hour. You already covered that. There's also Hope Ministries.
All right. I will lead next hour with Muya. I will do Go Slim again. That's the RiseLA.biz, the business and leadership luncheon, business and industry luncheon. Yeah. Look at this. Look at this fool. No, go back to him. Our Lady of Mercy's fish fry.
We used to do that for the band at Vanderbilt. Our cafeteria was a larger cafeteria, and in fact, I've been odd because I've actually asked when we were visiting schools. I've asked these schools, like our cafeteria would feed other schools. Some had their own operation. Some just kind of like took stuff from us and hot plated it. But we had a big enough kitchen that we could do fish fry and like, you know, line a car, do potato salad.
Last year, because of COVID, had most of the parishes had their fish fry shut down. Where we normally would do 300 plates in a week on a Friday, we were doing almost 600 plates.
You have to order them in advance. Just drive in.
Drive through.
What time?
5 to 7.
You can make a donation.
I don't think
$9
we
a
do.
plate.
You don't think what? Like, what if I paid $200? You know, it's like,
Wait, do what?
what if I, you know, what if, hey, plate lunch.
We wouldn't turn the money down, but I mean, we'd want to give you back your $191 change.
No, keep that. Keep
Answer your text, Fred, while on camera.
Keep that.
That's not Joey Nipper. That's Fred Gwynn. The other guy's Joey Nipper.
Let's call it a donation. My kid an education.
I mean,
Or else I'm taking my talents to St. John Pitt.
don't do it, dude.
Our fish fry is better.
You're,
St. Jude's is the best.
hey,
Kill the mics for a second.
The Knights are there to.
Oh, yeah, bro.
you can put them back on. We can make fun of. You put the mics back on. Okay. I think we can make fun of the Knights of Columbus with the mics on. The problem is everyone's like, everyone's the Knights of Columbus too old. Well, then you should join. It's a perfect reason to join, right? So I can be told how awful my generation is?
Whoa. Start that again.
What? Oh, the garbage? Or the... Yeah. Bro. It's like there's a banana peel stuck to the inside of the dumpster and he's going to shake it out. Just keep shaking it! Oh. $6.52. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Cup of Tech Gumbo, presented by Cardinal Capital and General Informatics, rolling right along. Haggai, we got to move over to disinformation because this is something that I have found fascinating long before the Russia invasion of Ukraine, long before this war got underway. And that is the garbage we're fed on a daily basis. I don't want to say it's more often than not, but it feels like more often than not is not straight up misinformation, but oftentimes disinformation.
Absolutely. That's the disinformation. Most of the garbage that you see on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, when you see something political, whether it's attacking the political right, political left, 90% of that came from Russia.
Yes.
So
let's dial this back to the election.
Oh, absolutely. Going back at least 5-6 years, Russia has been trying to rip the United States apart.
Yeah, the last two elections, absolutely.
And so they've been doing a very good job of totally just trying to burn this country down, for lack of a better term. But the same thing is going on now, and you've got to make sure when you see information, just because your buddy sent it to you doesn't mean it's any good. You need to really verify what sources you're getting this information from.
How to spot disinformation tactics and not further their scams. You sent an article with 6 different ways. Let's run through a couple of the ways because there is one that I don't see listed here, but this is the one that I use above anything else. So what are some of the ways to spot Russia-Ukraine disinformation?
So when you see memes on, anytime you see a meme, more than likely that was created by Russia. It's just forget memes.
Check the account. Yes.
Where did it originate? And if it's from Bubba or from somebody that if it's not from a CNN, Fox News, ABC News, Wall Street Journal, a credible news outlet, it's going to be.
I'm going to give you the instant pushback you're going to get is sure. All the left-wing, lamestream media that's all in lockstep with one another. And I get my news from a real news source, Haggai. Like that's the argument coming
back.
And
that's why you look at both sides. You look at the Wall Street Journal. You look at Fox News. It just as if it's from some type of a source where the media has done some kind of fact check before they repost it. Mm-hmm. Then it's going to have some credibility. I'm not saying it's absolutely true because it's got from Fox News or from CNN, because that can be faked as well. Either side of the political aisle where you're coming from, if you're seeing a meme, just ignore it.
Number 2, verify the media you consume, which is kind of along a similar line.
It is.
It's very much along a similar line in that just because, and this is the one that I use as a barometer for, this is my litmus test 100%. And if there's kids listening, 3, 2, I'm going to count it down in 3, 2, 1. Does it piss you off?
Exactly.
Because if it punches you in the gut before it punches you in the brain, it's likely disinformation. If your reaction is anger or rallying, it's likely intended to evoke emotion and not report fact.
That's 100% accurate. And that's why 90% of all of those memes, what you see Nancy Pelosi or anything like that, or see President Trump, you're going to see those came out of Russia. That's disinformation. As soon as you see either one of those faces on a meme, ignore them.
Think before you share.
So when you see that same check that you just had, if it makes you mad, if it just makes your blood boil, delete it, ignore it. Don't try and pass it on to somebody else, because all you're doing is you're now spreading the misinformation.
Right. But not only that, but you're furthering the credence of it because your friends trust you.
Exactly.
I got this from Haggai. I know it's good. You become part of that chain of trusted sources. Number 4, ignore the fundraiser button.
There's a lot of people who are out scamming folks right now let's raising money for Ukraine. Click here and donate. Well, if you don't know where that money's going, if it's a GoFundMe page created by Larry, and Larry's gonna, he's got 90% overhead on the funds that are collected. Well, that's not really doing anybody any good.
It's doing Larry some good.
Doing Larry some good, but if you're really go to the Red Cross, go to sites like that where the money's going to get through to where it's got to go.
Stay out of the DMs. This one should be a no-brainer all the time, but even more so right now.
Just when you get a direct message that says, "I need your help. Please give us your checking account, your banking information." Just delete it. Please delete it. Don't forward this to somebody. Is this real? Should we be doing this? Or delete it. Please stop choking down the internet with more garbage.
I would say the same for comment sections as well.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing good ever. I know we all, we were talking about the Real Housewives during the break earlier. That's what every comment section is a dinner scene from the Real Housewives. Take your pick. I don't care if you're talking D.C., Salt Lake, Orange County, New York, New Jersey.
All just yak.
And somebody's there to say something just to bait you.
Absolutely.
Just to goad you into doing something that is going to send things off the rails.
Good job,
Was
Gabe.
that Joe Gatto? I think that was Joe Gatto. Follow the money is the last one, which is kind of the same as ignore the fundraiser button, except that there's backing behind a lot of this.
Exactly. So when you see different organizations who are asking you to contribute money and you're kind of wondering why that group would ask for money to help for Ukraine when they're a political entity just trying to do things here locally, stay away from them. Be careful of anybody asking for money. If you're trying to send money to the Ukrainians, go to a reputable source.
Or just meet a Ukrainian. By the way, I love TikTok. There is a TikTok account called Disinfo former CIA, or so she claims. She gives very unbiased breakdowns of different news articles that tell you, she basically analyzes them like John Madden's Telestrator to tell you where the disinformation's coming from. He's Haggai Davis, host of Tech Gumbo. Catch it Saturday and Sunday at 4 right here on Talk 107.3. Appreciate you, brother.
You bet.
All right, we're not done, though, because one of the biggest culprits, and this is the hardest part, when you've got friends who buy in on this crap, one of the hardest parts is it is infinitely easier to trick someone than it is to convince them they've been tricked. And when you go to a news source like Yahoo News is very, very slick about this. Yeah, they're looking to drive clicks. And in order to drive clicks, you have to drive emotion. And the easiest emotion to trigger is anger. Anger fuels everything. Fear is number 2. Anger than fear than sex. They say sex sells. Sex is running a distant third right now. And I'm not talking about average. No.
FUD. You're talking about FUD.
What's FUD?
Fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Yeah.
You create FUD. If there's uncertainty, they may be coming here next. I mean, I don't know. Are they coming? Are they going to? Is Russia going to launch the bombs at us? Well, I don't know.
Fear leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering.
So anytime you can create FUD, that's when it's just.
Oh, I don't know. I don't see it. Okay. One of the things, but it takes so much time. You have to invest so much time to debunk disinfo on a retail level. Like, I had a Yoda quote a second ago. It takes so much time, but it's not worth it in the long run. I have a friend who is as socialist as the day is long, and he'll share articles from Yahoo all the time. And I will go through them every once in a while just for my own gratification. Go through them and find the pull quotes, but you pull the quotes, Google the quote itself and the person they're quoting to find what other news sources have given the same quote. More often than not, what you're going to find is some random UHF affiliate of an NBC station out of, like, Fresno, like NBC 47. It's not a real thing. Or what's the one, crap. There's one that's right here in Louisiana. It's like Channel 19 from somewhere. But So you'll find those, but you'll also find the
Might be Morgan City, actually.
Morgan City has a 19.
I think so.
Well,
the local
it's a stopover from a small station that doesn't show up on anybody's radar, but they're just looking to redistribute news that they got from somewhere else in order to raise their own clicks. Cut and paste news. If I post it here, I can garner 50 more clicks on this one, and you end up winning in bulk. But they're not fact checking on a local basis. I can tell you that we're one of the few radio stations left in town that still has local people in the building. TV stations that are that far down the charts, as far as market size is concerned, have none. So it's automated. It's turned over. There's nobody double checking. So you go from Yahoo to Local 19. You go from Local 19 to whatever the next one is. You get 4 or 5 sources down the line, and you start to find where the quote originally came from. Then you bring that quote back around. You tell the person who originally quoted who originally posted the story, "Hey, look, this was the origination of this. It has nothing to do with what you just read about." And often the response is, "Yeah, but you know that's what they want."
Misinformation you spread.
All right.
Disinformation without that information.
Oh God. All right, got about 2 minutes, Haggai. What's next for autonomous vehicles?
So, in the city of San Francisco, starting later this year, they're going to have complete driverless cars that it's taxis basically. I mean, going to take you around the city. You'll be able to pull up on your app, hop in the car, and it'll take you around. It's going to be very geo-fenced. It's going to be very close where you can go. I mean, you're not going to be able to go all the way to San Jose or something like that. But there's not going to be a driver that's going to drive you around the city of San Francisco. And Chevrolet, their Cruise that is going to, they're going to release a full car built from the ground up without a steering wheel in the year 2023.
I know I've been the curmudgeon on this from the start, but why? Is the steering wheel really hurting? Having the ability to override, does that hurt anything?
Because you're going to have people, you're going to be able to sit in the car and everybody sitting looking at each other. It's like you're sitting around a table talking.
Nobody wants to ride backwards.
Some
Jerry Seinfeld said, "I like to ride backwards on the train. It's like I'm going back in time." But we all, from a motion sickness standpoint, we all want to ride forwards.
So my co-host, the esteemed Haggai Davis III, who's getting his PhD in autonomous vehicles, will tell you that you're wrong, that people want to be able to see face-to-face what's going on. They don't, they want to be able to look at who's sitting in the back seat kind of thing. And we found an article, McKinsey and Company did an international study looking at the different, how soon people are going to want their self-driven cars and how soon they're going to be released. And it's coming a lot sooner than a lot of people think.
And that's where I have the problem, is the fact that it's happening so soon. It's way too fast of a swing of the pendulum in order not to swing right back.
Now, yes, Chevy's going to release this car next year. It's not going to be available for open use on the open highway. You're still 5 years out before you get to level 4, where you're going to have, that kind of traffic going on I-10.
You got to crawl before you walk, and we're skipping crawling, we're skipping walking,
That's why we're
the general public.
Starting in the city like San Francisco, where you're going to have, look, Google, their Waymo is the name of their car.
Yeah, I saw that.
They've been operating for quite some time, autonomous vehicles.
But not the general public. We all need to be able to take. No, not you. You have an autonomous vehicle?
No, but
neither do I. We're the general public. We all need to be able to adapt and say, I can take my hands off the steering wheel for a couple miles on the interstate, and then I can. Let's see how this plays out at a rural red light.
That's coming. It's incrementally going to happen.
The headlines are surpassing that, though.
Disinformation.
707. Well played, sir. 707, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Hour 2 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. The conversation with Haggai Davis did not stop for the news break right there. If you missed it, it'll be available on our YouTube channel. That's the only place to get the behind-the-scenes stuff is on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe while you're there. It's Mornings with Brian Haldane. My appreciation to Haggai Davis. We were talking about autonomous vehicles because I promised it in the tease, and because of disinformation and Russia and Ukraine, we didn't get to it on air. But Haggai's very big in the autonomous vehicle space. He digs the space. I can't read that from here, Kate. What does he say? Oh, yeah. Got a busy hour this hour. Former Lieutenant Governor Scott Angelle. He's got plans. With the heightened attacks on Ukraine and the sanctions imposed on Russia's oil exports, American energy production is needed now more than ever for our national security and to relieve the ever-rising pain at the pump. I paid $3.79 a gallon yesterday. $3.79 a gallon. I should not have to get near $50 to fill up a Ford Focus, but this is where we are. Yes, I drive a Ford Focus. Want to fight about it? So we got Scott Angelle this hour. We got Daniel Erspaner this hour. Daniel heads up the Pelican Institute. We're not that far away. What is today, the 4th? We're 10 days away from the beginning of the regular legislative session. So what's that going to look like? Well, their Solutions Summit is coming up Monday. I'll be doing my show from there. Their Solutions Summit is coming up Monday. What can we expect from those Solutions Summit? Daniel Erspaner is going to join us at 7:35 to talk about it. Going to get you to top stories and trending in just a second. I do need to remind you about the folks over at Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. If you do not yet have your lunch plans, might I suggest Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. If you are Catholic and abstaining from meat on Fridays, might I just plant this idea in the back of your head so your sacrifice can be a true sacrifice. You can think about, you can dream about, you can drool about the Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes all day long until tomorrow. And then go. Maybe take them in on a Saturday. Maybe take the whole family. Maybe you're not just stepping away from work for a minute to go grab yourself a double Diablo. Maybe you swing by tomorrow. And after you sacrifice today by not having the certified Angus beef and the freshly cut vegetables and the freshly baked potato buns, and oh, by the way, the best service you're going to find around, by giving that up today, allow yourself to indulge tomorrow with sweet potato fries dipped in honey, with a real ice cream milkshake. Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. They're on Bluebonnet at Highland. They're on Seagan, just north of Industrialplex. All right, time for top stories and trending. Let's roll.
Now, top stories and trending. 5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go. On Talk 107.3 FM. The most trusted name in news. Brought to you by Complete Collision Center. With locations in Zachary and Baton Rouge. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Choose CompleteCollision.com. I want to know absolutely everything that's happened up to now.
A man was rescued Thursday after getting stuck under an overturned excavator. St. George Fire Protection District officials said crews responded to reports of a man stuck under the machinery shortly after 1 p.m. in the 10,700 block of Linkwood Court off of Bluebonnet. Upon arriving at the scene, crews say they found the man with his foot caught underneath the excavator after it overturned halfway into a ditch. Officials say they were able to free the man using various pieces of cribbing, the hydraulic spreaders, and a strategy developed from hours of training for situations exactly like this. By the way, EMS helped transport the man to a hospital for treatment. A pair of Verizon employees were left tied up after armed men burst into the store and robbed the place. The Baton Rouge Police Department said the robbers went into the store along Millerville near I-12. That Verizon store. Yeah. Right across the street from Super Target. BRPD said the robbers went into the store just before 5 p.m. Tuesday. At least one of the men was armed with a gun. After they tied up the employees, the two attackers escaped with an undisclosed amount of stolen merchandise. A body was found in a subdivision Wednesday That body has now been identified as 19-year-old Donovan Jones Jr., who went missing from that same neighborhood last month. East Baton Rouge Parish Coroner's Office identified the body yesterday afternoon, adding that a cause of death had not yet been determined. There were no signs of trauma. Jones was found in the Meadowview area off of Old Scenic Highway. Sources told our news partners at WBRZ 2 people passing a retention pond at the front of the neighborhood spotted a body in the water and notified authorities. A suspect accused of killing a man at a hotel along Segan Lane last month is now in custody. 21-year-old James Douglas was arrested Wednesday on charges related to the February 12th shooting. The East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office said the victim, identified as 31-year-old Charlton Henry, was shot multiple times at the Super 8 on Rieger Road. Oh, I drove right past that scene when it happened. Super 8 on Rieger Road. Investigators believe the shooting stemmed from an argument. Grabbing this one from The Advocate, a Baton Rouge teenager who allegedly agreed to meet with his female victims and then demanded money and sex at gunpoint was indicted yesterday on rape and armed robbery counts. 18-year-old Jaden Christopher Foster is accused of robbing and sexually assaulting 2 of his victims after answering their online advertisements for sex last summer. Foster allegedly robbed and raped a 3rd woman after she met with him to buy marijuana. He was indicted on 3 counts of first-degree rape, 4 counts of armed robbery, faces a mandatory sentence of life in prison if convicted of first-degree rape. Those are your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. Crosswalks. Crosswalks are trending this morning. Crosswalks in downtown Baton Rouge are getting a makeover. Using funding from a grant by AARP, the Downtown Development District is repainting crosswalks at 4 intersections along 3rd Street. The crosswalks will be dressed up with vibrant, high-visibility designs that the DDD says will improve safety and aesthetics in the heart of the Arts and Entertainment District. The crosswalks on 3rd at Convention, Laurel, and Main Streets are being added to complement the first one, painted in 2020 at the intersection of 3rd and Florida. The designs are said to be inspired by historic buildings and other elements of downtown. Once the project is complete, the Downtown Development District plans to hold a community walk to show off their work. Those are your top stories and trending. We are due up for a break. When we come back from that break, let's talk about American energy. Let's talk with Scott Angelle next.
Yes, sir. We'll be with you in about 2 minutes. Just hold tight. Thank you.
Can't wait to see how the DWI laws change with the use of these cars. Look, I don't like, clearly, Haggai's all in, right? And I get it. And I think eventually we'll get there. I think eventually we'll all be like the people in Wall-E. You know? But for now, it's not happening. We haven't seen the first steps incrementally in the general public yet. I don't have the option on my 2012 Ford Focus to take my hands off the steering wheel. If I do, my car will pull to the left and I'll go into neutral ground. You show me autonomous vehicles in Louisiana roads, map that equation out, then we'll talk. Debbie answers her own question. Why haven't they stopped the taxes on gas? Debbie, you already know the answer. .716 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Let's talk energy. Let's talk energy workers. Let's talk about putting Americans and more specifically Louisianans back to work. With the heightened attacks on Ukraine and the sanctions imposed on Russia's oil exports, American energy production is needed now more than ever for our national security and to relieve the ever-rising pain at the pump. Scott Angelle joins us now. Scott's former lieutenant governor, also served as the director of the U.S. Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement. Scott, welcome back to Talk 107.3. How are you, man?
Good morning, Brian. Good to hear your voice. Good to talking to the folks in the capital area. I'm coming to you this morning from the energy capital of the world, Houston, Texas. And, we in a hell of a shape right here with regards to our energy policy. So I'm excited about the opportunity to talk to interested folks in Louisiana.
Absolutely. And this is a topic that has been an ongoing topic on a regular news cycle. You enter the Russia-Ukraine story into it, and all of a sudden it ramps up to far beyond important. It moves up to the top of the charts very, very quickly. You have launched an initiative, or the initiative's been launched, giving USA Energy Workers a platform and a voice. Let's start by talking about USAEnergyWorkers.com as being part of that initiative. Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, I mean, it's time we begin to elevate and celebrate our USA Energy Workers. Our USA Energy Workers for generations have put on their hard hats and their steel-toe boots. They kissed their families goodbye, and they set out to do the hard work to fuel and energize this country and help make us a superpower. And we've been very, very lucky to have this affordable energy for the longest time. And now we've got to a point where we're starting to vilify these energy workers. The American energy workers, while we're vilifying the American energy workers, we seem to be glorifying the foreign energy workers. And it's really unfortunate because I certainly believe that we have a lot to be thankful for in this country. Our doctors, our nurses, our first responders, certainly our military folks, all very, very important to us. But I also believe that our energy workers deserve to be elevated and celebrated. So we've launched an initiative called USAEnergyWorkers.com. It's an opportunity for folks to join in with these energy workers and their families because they need some support right now. It's unfortunate that our energy policy is to put Moscow over Midland, Oman over Odessa, the Gulf of Persia over the Gulf of Mexico, Russia over the Rockies, Libya over Lafourche. We can do better, and we need to do better.
All right. I mean, you started with Midland. I was like, oh man, he's going all Texas on me. No.
No. You want to go a little bit Louisiana?
Yes.
I said Libya over Lafourche. How about we putting Algeria over Abbeville? We putting Kuwait over Kaplan. We can do so much better, and it starts with glorifying and elevating and celebrating the USA energy worker. We're ready to do it. Our energy workers are absolutely prepared to help reduce the pain at the pump and the pain at the natural gas meter. They just need a little bit of opportunity. We need to have federal policy that opens up our federal lands and federal waters. You know, Brian, look, on a serious note, we've had 6 recessions from 1973 to 2019 in this country. Yeah. And each one of those recessions have been preceded by a spike in energy prices. As goes America's access to affordable energy, so goes our economic performance. And somehow, some way, I don't know how it happened, but there are 3 E's that I think are very important for us to talk about. 1 E is the blue E, or 1 E is the environmental E, and that's kind of become a blue state issue. The second E is energy. That's become a red state issue. I think there's a third E. It's called the economy, and it's not blue and it's not red. It's purple, and the economy affects everybody. And we got to get a handle on our energy policy, and it starts with our USA energy workers. And so I'm hopeful that we can bring a little bit of highlight to the plight of the energy worker, support them, support their families, and unleash them. You know, one of the things I love is that when you talk to a USA energy worker,
mm-hmm.
you know what their favorite 4-letter word is? Their favorite 4-letter word is work.
Yeah.
They want to go to work.
And where we're at in the pandemic right now, it's amplified even more. You mentioned USA Energy Workers. Who's included in that? What counts as a USA Energy Worker?
Anybody who helps make energy available to this country, whether it's the traditional oil and gas, whether it's nuclear, whether it's the electrical generators, the electrical distributors, wind, solar, everybody. We got to put everybody together, and we got to have a sensible approach to harnessing all of this. You know, I'm often reminded that the greatest generation in America was that World War II generation. I certainly believe that. But when I take a look at the generation of USA energy workers we have, they too are a great generation of men and women. And you know, Brian, it's unfortunate that we have, when you take a look at our farmers, right, we feed the world. We absolutely feed the world. And we have strengthened our democracies. We have made friends across the globe on the strength of our farmers. And our farmers have an amazing work ethic. And we use that, again, to feed the world. We have an opportunity here in this country to not only feed the world, but to fuel the world. And we can do that in a more environmentally safe way. Your listeners need to know this critically important statistic, that about 74% of the oil that we import into this country has a higher carbon intensity per barrel than production from the Gulf of Mexico. So in the name of a better environment, we've kind of come up with some policies that say we're not gonna drill here, we're gonna pause leasing, but then we go beg OPEC to give us. We got one atmosphere, all right. The molecule, it's not USA warming, it's global warming.
Right.
Tell me how it makes sense not to do it here, but to go do it over there when the statistics show that it's better here for the environment. It's just hard to believe. We believe there's something else at play here, and I don't know what it is, but it's certainly not good policy for America.
Well, and that's the part that's so infuriating, is if you want a job done right, you do it yourself. Russia doesn't have, Vladimir Putin doesn't have a Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement. Vladimir Putin doesn't have a Department of Environmental Quality. We have these things. So at the end of the day, I don't know how Keystone Pipeline bad, Nord Stream Pipeline until very recently considered good. I don't know how, if you want it done right, maintain the oversight, keep it in house. There's no doubt. I get triggered by that.
Yeah, well, and you ought to, and every American ought to get triggered by it. I mean, imagine, you know, we've kind of the number one, number two import places that we get production from are Canada and Mexico, and Russia. Russia has moved up the ladder. Russia is the number 3 energy importer to America. How can we be putting Moscow over Midland? How can we be putting Libya over Rouge? How can we be putting Algeria over Abbeville? It makes no sense at all. And again, just think for a moment. This morning, if you woke up and you and your family were dependent upon food supplies from a foreign country, a country that perhaps didn't share our values, didn't value freedoms of religion and freedoms of speech, and we were getting our food from those places, you would look at that and say, well, that's ridiculous. So, you know, again, thank God that we haven't got so silly with our foreign policy that we count on other countries to feed us. We need to do a better job in this country of controlling our own destiny with our own energy production. And again, it's all of the above. It's oil and gas. It's nuclear. It's wind. It's solar. It's wave. It's everything we can do, because at the end, what has helped make us competitive in this world economy, certainly the number one thing that's made us competitive is our people, the spirit of our people, the innovation, the technology, our rule of law. We're never going to have the cheapest labor on the planet. That's not who we are. We don't want that. Right. Our standard of living is too high. But the one thing that has helped us to be a really, really competitive place to create jobs and have a better quality of life here is affordable, predictable energy. If we give that up, we all going to be on our knees. So I'm very passionate about it, and I'm passionate about the worker. I believe in the blue-collar worker who gets up every day and puts on their hard hat and steel-toe boots and goes to the plants and goes to the exploration site, kiss their families goodbye, and do those things. You know, I love the saying. I really do love the saying, and I think this is very important. I love school teachers, and I think there's a really cool little meme that I saw not too long ago that said, you know, if you can read, thank a teacher. I think that's so true. I think it's absolutely true. I like to add to that, Brian. Mm-hmm. If you can read at night in your warm home, thank a teacher and a USA energy worker.
Scott Angelle is our guest. Scott, I'm glad you brought up other forms of energy as well, because I couldn't help but notice we're talking about USA energy workers, not USA oil and gas workers. There's going to be a role for energy workers to move through the energy transition. While we do it cleaner and better than everybody else when it comes to oil and gas, the future is not solely oil and gas. Still our bread and butter, but there's room for growth here as well. Do you see that energy workers have a role in that transition?
Absolutely. Look, we are into a place at our time in history where we are going to be bringing in additional sources of energy. I think that's smart. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do think we need to have a plan. I think we need to be ready. And the way to be ready is to have a transition. And a transition, by its very definition, means a phase. And this idea that we're just going to cut off oil and gas and have something that's yet to be discovered or perfected to be ready to fill in the gap that's ludicrous. That's ludicrous. It exposes our economy. It exposes our national security, and it just is. There's no sense in that public policy. Now, what I do think is that while we are making a transition, we ought to make sure that we're doing it the right way. And even the Department of Energy I think in October of this year, Brian, the Department of Energy issued a report. And it concluded what most of us knew, but I think most of us were surprised that this Department of Energy issued a statement that said that, and again, I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but for the foreseeable future, oil and natural gas were going to be a large part of our energy complex. Mm-hmm. Okay. Even when the president came back from the climate conference in Scotland, he was quoted as saying, it's not rational for us to think that we're going to get off of oil and gas in the near future. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear those statements. I'm glad to hear the Department of Energy say that. What we now need to see is policies that support those words, and those policies would be, for instance, there's been a pause on offshore leasing. Offshore leasing, the federal government owns and regulates the Gulf of Mexico, and that produces about 17% of the oil that is produced in America comes from the Gulf of Mexico. With a flip of the switch, with a snap of a finger, we can begin to send a message to the Gulf of Mexico producers that we open for business over here. Yeah. That we expect you to do it right. We're gonna hold you accountable, and the record's very clear. The record's very clear that the performance in the Gulf of Mexico over the last 5 years has been remarkably safe and remarkably environmentally correct. And those barrels, again, produce less carbon intensity than foreign barrels. Mm-hmm. And again, don't take my word for it. One final thing I'll tell you is that in 2016, the Obama-Biden administration issued a report that said that if we didn't have a Gulf of Mexico lease sale, we would have to replace that production by foreign production, quote, that often had higher greenhouse gas emissions than USA. So if that was a report that the Obama-Biden administration produced in November 2016, it's a public document. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not being political. I'm not being personal. I'm being factual. If that report was issued in 2016, it's difficult to understand why in 2021, one of the first actions that the White House did was to pause offshore leasing when your own work by your own people concluded several years before that you would have to replace that oil with foreign-produced oil that is often less environmentally or less climate advantage. That's exactly what we've done. So it's time to quit putting Moscow over Midland. It's time to quit putting Oman over Odessa. It's time to say goodbye to Dubai and hello to Ohio. It's time to put Lafouche over Libya and, again, Abbeville over Algeria and Kaplan over Kuwait. And I could go on and on and on and
He is Scott Angelle. Scott, the website is usaenergyworkers.com, usaenergyworkers.com. I got 20 seconds left. What can folks find when they go there? Oh, did we lose him? No! Oh, crud. All right, well, we were out of time anyway. It's former lieutenant governor, used to head up the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement, Scott Angelle. I mean, too many Texas cities. How about Dubai over Dulac? I mean, can we roll that way instead? I think Cade's mission for the rest of the show is just to make the comparisons and the South Louisiana cities right there. My appreciation to Scott Angelle. Sorry we lost the connection at the very end of that. Not to worry, though, we were due up for news anyway. Let's take a quick break. We blew right past CBS News. We'll check our own local news, traffic, weather, and then we're back at it next on Talk 107.3. Did we lose him or did you pot him down? He just disappeared? All right.
Karen Crow over Crimea, didn't want any of that?
It's time, yeah. Karen. He's always running for office. He's a former lieutenant governor. He's awesome. So, wait. He said Moscow. So, like people who smoke too many cigarettes or bet on the ponies? Okay, he had Moscow over Midland. How about Moscow over Morgan City? Crimea over, what'd you have, Karen Crow? Dubai over Dulac. Let's see. What about Chernobyl? Oh, Byron's already got it. Chalmette. Bless you. Yep.
Yes, sir. We're in break here. We'll be with you in about 2 minutes. If you don't mind.
Hong Kong over Hanville? Oh, no. Hong Kong over Homa. Sorry, Hanville. Shanghai. Got to have an SH there. Shanghai. Over Shreveport.
You mean when you were addicted to scratchy lottery tickets?
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Brandon Holly here. You need Windows? Then you need Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com. A mostly sunny afternoon for your Friday. High temperatures will be on the warm side as well. High temperatures pushing 80 degrees today. Cool tonight in the middle and upper 50s for low temperatures.
Braun, it's time to stop putting Wuhan over West Wego. Are there any WU cities in Louisiana? 11:37, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Hour 2 of Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So, come Monday, we're taking the show on the road. Where we're going? Right down the street, actually, to the Hilton. Why? The Pelican Institute's Solutions Summit's coming your way. Joining us now to talk about that and kind of preview the legislative session a little bit is the head of the Pelican Institute, Daniel Erspaner. Daniel, welcome back, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to Monday.
It's going to be a good time. We're going to I'm looking forward to it. I haven't taken the show out on the road much, but once we're in it, and it's it gets a deep dive. We're going to dive right in. What can folks expect at the Solutions Summit?
Well, we are going to do a few things. First is, boy, won't it be great to be together again and to share some fellowship. And we have, if you come and register, you get breakfast, lunch, and good heavy hors d'oeuvres and drinks for dinner. But more important than that, perhaps, is the content. We've got great breakout sessions on a lot of the issues that are going to be debated in the legislature this year and, you know, in campaigns to come. So all the key issues from tax and budget to education to regulation and barriers to opportunity for all people. So lots of the deep dives into the issues. And then some keynote speakers that are going to be a lot of fun. We have at breakfast the president of the Heritage Foundation in Washington, D.C., Kevin Roberts, who's also a Lafayette native. At lunch, we're going to have, we call it our Future Leaders of Louisiana Forum. So we'll have people like Lieutenant Governor Nungesser and Treasurer Schroeder and Senator Hewitt and Senator Ward and a number of others who are expected to be leaders of the state here into the future and perhaps even, you know, seeking some higher offices. And then at the closing reception, we have the CEO and owner of the Babylon Bee, the most popular political satire site on the internet. And we're going to talk a little bit about satire on the rocks and the role of humor in politics. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
That is going to be fun. That's the Babylon Bee's fantastic, by the way. They actually do it right. A lot of satire stuff is just, it's either blatantly mean or they miss the mark by so much. The Babylon Bee nails it.
They really do. You know, I was surprised to learn recently they have now overtaken The Onion in readership. I agree. Every time I look at the Babylon Bee, I end up in stitches, and they really do nail it, and are equal opportunity lampooners, which is even better.
Yes, absolutely. Talking with Daniel Erspaner about the Pelican Institute's Solutions Summit. So let's dive back into a few of the issues. You kind of gave a cursory glance of what will be in the breakout sessions. Can we get a little more granular as to what folks can expect?
Yeah, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So in the morning, our first round of breakout sessions, we're going to, you know, every year for every voter, just about certainly every parent, education is a major issue. And we've got, we've got a couple of legislators from other states who have really taken on big reforms. One is Senator Patricia Rucker. West Virginia has passed a universal education savings account that will be implemented this year. Senator Rucker was the sponsor. This means every child in in West Virginia will have access to an education savings account, that dollars will follow the child to the school that best fits them. It's a really exciting opportunity for those parents and kids. We're trying to make that happen here in Louisiana. So we'll learn a little bit about West Virginia's experience. And if you haven't watched Senator Justin Wayne from Nebraska, some of his floor speeches have gone viral. Look it up on YouTube. This is a black gentleman who challenged his colleagues that if they would agree to send their kids to the public schools in his district, he would vote against school choice measures. And really powerful words from someone who understands the need to give every family an option to have a school that fits them.
Wow. I mean, I could see why that would go viral. That's calling people out just firsthand.
It really is. He is a champion and a fighter, and look up that video. It's terrific.
So,
and then come see him in person.
School choice is one thing. Education savings account, having the money actually follow the child, is another thing altogether. What's the likelihood? Before the session starts, I'm kind of taking the position that If that sort of thing were to happen, it would have to happen in such excruciating increments that we wouldn't see it while it's happening. We wouldn't know until it was completely over.
Well, you know, I'll say this, Brian. As we look across the country and as we look at polling data here in Louisiana, what we see is that, like never before, support for programs like this are skyrocketing. 70+% of voters support the idea that we should fund students rather than systems and that we should allow children to attend a school that best fits them. And so we're going to see, so far, as you probably saw, a bunch of bills dropped yesterday, so we're still going through all those. But we expect at least 4 or 5 bills that take a look at an education savings account, some of them for every kid. Some of them may start with targeted groups of students. For example, we supported last year and will support again this year a bill by Philip DeVilliers that would allow some of the really most at-risk kids in foster care, kids in military families, not that they're at risk, but need a lot of specialization and choice would really be powerful to them, and kids who've been declined a public school transfer. So this would provide an ESA for those kids who really can most use it.
The biggest issue, and I think when it comes to that, and we'll move on from the education savings accounts in just a second, but it's going to get hit from both sides. From the left, it's going to be called the death knell of the public schools. From the right, it's going to be called a redistribution of wealth. If you're going to tax me and then allow me to have a savings account based off of overall taxes, how is that not just a straight-up redistribution of wealth?
Yeah, so let's address both of those quickly. So in terms of public schools, this every data point, every experience we have with school choice shows that not only does this give parents who need something different than the one-size-fits-all approach that we've taken to public education, it helps those kids. But you know what else? Every data point shows us that it also improves the outcomes for kids that stay in traditional public schools. And so what this does is it allows our traditional public schools to be even better and stronger, but it also empowers parents to go to things like public charter schools or maybe a private school or maybe even a series of tutors if you've got a kid that has particular special needs. Education, if we learn anything in the pandemic, can look a lot different for a lot of different kids. And parents are in the best position to make those decisions. And, you know, to your final point, we're spending these dollars on these kids. We're already making sure this is a commitment we've made as a society that education is important. The question is, how do we deliver it? How do we make sure that parents are in the driver's seat and that we have the best educational outcomes for every kid in the state? Right now, the reality is, if you're in a wealthy family, you already have school choice. Yeah. You can choose to send your kid to a different school. For those parents who aren't wealthy, who are struggling maybe to make ends meet, you don't have any choices. This puts everyone on a fair playing field. Whether you're wealthy, whether you're struggling to make ends meet, everyone has the same opportunities to have success for their kids. And that's really, I think, what we all want to accomplish.
A roadmap from poverty to opportunity. What are we talking about in that session?
So this is a major effort the Pelican Institute has launched in the last couple of years, the last couple of months, with a big goal. And we're working alongside partners in Georgia and Texas who will be represented on this panel. This is about removing barriers to opportunity and lifting people out of poverty. Our goal is to free 1 million people across our 3 states, Georgia, Texas, and Louisiana, from poverty and dependency over the next decade. And so this panel will dive into what are some of the policy solutions that get us to that goal. How do we make sure everyone has access to a good quality job, that we don't put unnecessary barriers to work, and that we reform our social safety nets so that they become what they're supposed to be, which is a springboard, a trampoline, rather than what they often are as a snare net that trap people in poverty and dependency. It's a big topic. It's a lot to cover in an hour. We're going to spend our breakfast talking about some of these issues as well. But boy, this is important if we're ever going to turn Louisiana around.
No, it absolutely is. And there's short-term relief versus long-term thriving. And I think that's the tough choice to make is, do you want a quick hit right now? meaning just more public money, or would you like something sustainable, something that will last and possibly change generations within the state? There's also strangling Louisiana, red tape and lawsuits. This panel has a, one, two, three different legislators on it, and then two folks from the Pelican Institute, if I'm reading that right.
That's right. So Senator Heather Cloud, Representative Jean-Paul Cusson, and Representative Mark Wright. You know, this is an issue you and I have talked about some before, Brian, and, and I know a lot of folks have. Two issues really to look at here. One is the legal system, and you know, we see these abusive coastal lawsuits that are killing jobs and driving people out of state. And you know, it's just one example of as the Institute for Legal Reform calls us, a judicial hellhole, right? To try to understand what are some solutions that move us out of that. And for your everyday small business, for your new enterprise, you know, the level of regulation and government or intervention in people's affairs is huge. It's a huge barrier to job creation. So we want to understand how all that plays together and how we can change it.
Daniel Erspaner from the Pelican Institute. We got about a minute and a half left, which is not nearly enough time to break down, one of the afternoon sessions and a press release I got from y'all yesterday. New report shows the pathway to a model Louisiana Constitution. Daniel, are you really going to bring me out there to do my show from there and let me have this as just raw meat to chew on?
I love to give you raw meat to chew on.
I mean, it's... you know that's my soapbox. You know I get triggered. It's like a new Louisiana Constitution is so overdue. What's going to be broken down in this session?
Yeah, so we're going to actually dig into what should a state constitution look like? What would a constitutional convention look like? One of our panelists is Jeremy Alford, who's written a great book, if you haven't read it, The Last Constitution, that looks at the Constitutional Convention in 1973 that generated the Constitution by which we live today. Mm-hmm. You know, constitutions are supposed to constrain government and enshrine freedom, right? Our Constitution at this point, after 200 and some odd amendments, frankly, does neither. So as you've noted many times, it is time. It is past time. So let's actually get to the discussion of how do we do it. This is necessary. There's broad consensus for that. How do we do it? How do we make sure we protect the things that are most important and transition to a new guiding document? And it can be done. We've been doing a lot of work on it and a lot of work left to do, but we're going to dig into that in the panel.
Who can come? Who could show up?
Everybody, come on down. There is a registration. If you go to pelicaninstitute.org, we do have some spots left. Obviously, this is just a few days away on Monday, but we'd love to have you come participate in this and get in there before it sells out. But we're making some more room so that more people can come, and we'd love to have you.
He is Daniel Erspaner from the Pelican Institute. And, yeah, I'll be doing my show there 6 to 9 a.m. Monday, and we will just have a cavalcade of guests rolling through, kind of setting the table for a lot of these discussions as well. Should be a good time. We didn't even get to the back half of what's going to happen in the afternoon. So we'll dive into that on Monday. In the meanwhile, Daniel, have yourself a great weekend, and we will see you Monday morning.
Thanks, my friend. You too. See you bright and early.
Yes, sir. I'll go ahead and post up that link on my Twitter as well. There's so much more to break down. Louisiana's fiscal future, spurring innovation in Louisiana, grading justice, how does Louisiana stack up? So much more to cover. It'll all be broken down on Monday right at the Hilton downtown. So hopefully we'll see you out there. In the meanwhile, we've got to take a break. We'll check traffic. Coming right back. I got to go let Rocco in the building. You wish your alarm would go off at 3:30 in the morning? Kinda. I don't. Did we actually grow up? No. He's. I've known Rocco about 20 years. Like 25 years ago. Also, he got me fat. So. You went to, what, 8 a.m.? Yeah. Bro, I went to noon. There were fewer people evacuating Ukraine than were at the noon mass.
I saw your wife and the kids at 8 a.m.
Yeah, well,
I know you were here. I'm just telling you, I saw your wife in there. Okay.
James did not recoil. He actually got his ashes. 754 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Gonna have CBS News coming your way about 5 minutes and 10 seconds from right now. Then hour 3 heading your way. Cade Wassan will have This Day in History. We're gonna be talking about a new job fair coming up from New Schools for Baton Rouge with Emily LeBeau. And then it is Lent. It is a Friday in Lent, which as a Catholic I'll be abstaining from meat. So we will turn to Mr. Roast Beef himself, Rocco Morrow. There's a lot on a po' boy menu that isn't just the roast beef, or in my case, the Crescent City Connection. We'll be doing some Lenten specials. What's on a Lenten menu from a po' boy guy coming up at 8:35 this morning. I'm going to dive into a couple of Lenten stories as well. If you're familiar at all with the show, you know when Rocco's in the house, it leaves the rails. You know when Rocco's in the house, it is a good time. Right now, though, it is time for us to step outside of East Baton Rouge Parish. Check in on our surrounding parishes with a segment we call The Outside In. We're going to start off in Livingston Parish. Deputies are searching for a missing Livingston Parish man with a known medical condition. The sheriff's office is working with the EBR sheriff's office to locate 28-year-old Jordan Hill, who went missing on February 27th. Detectives say Hill was last seen walking near Sherwood Forest Boulevard on I-12. He's 5'8", weighs around 130. Last seen wearing black pants, a red Nike hoodie, and black tennis shoes. Has a tattoo of the word success above his left eyebrow. Hill's mother told deputies that an existing medical issue is a safety concern at this time. Did not elaborate on what that medical issue is, though. Investigators do not suspect foul play in his disappearance. Keeping it in Livingston Parish. When a man approached Denham Springs Mayor Gerard Landry in his front yard several months ago, he wasn't expecting the conversation to lead to an undercover sting exposing massage parlors as fronts for prostitution. Grabbing this one from the Advocate, the man told Landry he had arrived at a massage parlor in Denham looking for a legitimate treatment from a licensed masseuse, only to have a scantily clad woman greet him. He had suspicions the business was a front for commercial sex. At that point, you've got to investigate for more, right? Anyway, the story might lead to another law cracking down on the illegitimate massage parlors. All in favor say, never mind, no, leave that punchline on the floor. Down in New Orleans, nearly 2 weeks after UNO student Ciara Whetstone died at a hospital under unknown circumstances, her mother, Miranda Ferran, still hasn't gotten the answers she needs. WWL-TV reports that Whetstone was taken to a New Orleans East hospital by an unknown individual before 7 a.m. on February 18th, later pronounced dead, according to police. Investigators with NOPD are still investigating the incident as an unclassified death. Ferran says she has gotten no information out of NOPD. The only info she can get her hands on comes from online news sources. Held a press conference yesterday with our attorneys on hand, just demanding answers at this point. Next stop, Washington Parish. A man convicted of molesting a child was able to walk free for about a month after he was mistakenly released thanks to a mathematical error at a Louisiana prison. Arrest records say 66-year-old Brian Mathern still had 7 years left of his nearly 30-year sentence when he was freed from Rayburn Correctional Center in Washington Parish back on February 1st. He had pled guilty to charges of molestation of a juvenile and aggravated crimes against nature back in 2000. Mathern was supposed to serve out his whole sentence without the possibility of an early release. Well, they did the math on it, got him his good behavior and let him out, figured out what they did wrong. He was on the loose for about a month, or back to his freedom for about a month. A department spokesperson said he was taken back into custody late Wednesday. He has since been booked back into Rayburn Correctional. Closing out in St. Landry Parish, where students no longer have to wear masks. The school board voted to let masks be optional Thursday night. School board member Milton Ambrose says they were following state mandates when the government made it optional for school boards to decide if their students could wear masks. They decided it was time for them to make it optional as well. That is the outside in. Quick break for CBS News. Coming back next on Talk 107.3.
WBRB Baker Baton Rouge, 98.1 HD3, Talk 107.3 FM.
Rocco Ramsey in the hallway. Financial advice from Rocco.
Westbound, this camera angle kind of makes it look worse than it is, but 20 minutes Jupiter to the split, the slowest pocket between Range and O'Neill. Let's check the cams. Seeing no major problems on the bridge, and a live shot proves it. Up and over, eastbound, looking good. Hopping off at I-110, also clear, and I-10 in College, a nice drive so far today. Plus, the Blackman Ferry's in service.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter. This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $170 with the purchase
Yes.
of 4 eligible Michelin tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
A mostly sunny afternoon for your Friday. High temperatures will be on the warm side as well. High temperatures pushing 80 degrees.
Yeah, I'm going to have to remember how to produce a show today.
Middle and upper 50s for low temperatures, and then your weekend gets even warmer. Highs in the low and mid 80s on Saturday, mid and upper 80s on Sunday. Mostly dry. Can't rule out a stray shower in the afternoon on Monday. Better rain chances return.
All right,
on Monday
YouTube.
with our next cold
Let's
front
roll.
that brings scattered
Hour
showers.
3.
Monday afternoon, rain chances at 70%. From the News 2 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jake Dalton.
.806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hour 3 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Cade Wassan producing. Party Jake's on the road for the weekend. Had to take off a few days. Not to worry. We're holding it down. Coming up this hour, we're talking with new schools for Baton Rouge. Boy, they got a lot going on, not to mention a job fair that's on the horizon. We will talk about that. Also, it is Lent. Can't wait. Rocco Moro from Rocco's New Orleans Stop Ho Boys in the house. We're going to talk about abstaining from meat on Fridays and a few other Lenten stories. That's coming your way later on this hour. This day in history coming up in 60 seconds. Got to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's Market. Speaking of Lenten specials, they can hook you up as well. If you're planning that crawfish boil, crab boil, fish fry, no worries. They got you covered. If you need to stop by for all the ingredients and fixings and whatnot, Mathern's has got you covered downtown on 3rd Street or the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. It's right across the street from Tiger Stadium. If you're on Nicholson and you're looking at Tiger Stadium, do a 180. You will see Mathern's. Oh, by the way, baseball season, softball season, tailgating, yes, thank you very much. Swing by Mathern's. Just like they're your tailgate headquarters during football season, just like they're your parade and headquarters during Mardi Gras, they are your tailgate headquarters for baseball and softball seasons as well. Both locations, downtown on 3rd, but if you're tailgating, you're more than likely hitting up the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center for Mathern's Market. All right, time to go back in time for this day in history.
Brian,
Yes.
this day in history, March 4th, 1933. You remember that?
I do. Big on Twitter
Seemed like
on
it was
that
just
day.
yesterday.
It does.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt inaugurated as the 32nd president of the United States of
Why it's
America.
late in the year to inaugurate a president, huh?
It is the old inaugural day. I
Yeah.
read that up. So interesting why that went back so late. But yeah, it seems pretty foreign to have.
You're almost a quarter of the way through the year. Like if you were voted in for a 4-year term, you're missing the first quarter of 1 year.
Not my inaugural day.
Nope.
Also, on this day in history, a sad note, a sports note. A lot of people certainly do remember this name, Hank Gathers. This day in history,
Loyola
was when
Marymount.
he collapsed
Oh,
on the
goodness
floor
gracious.
and passed. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that.
All right. 1789. The
That was
government.
1990 for Hank Gathers, right?
1990, correct.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Okay.
1789. The government under the U.S. Constitution begins.
Okay.
1952. Ronald Reagan. And,
How'd that work out?
You know the Constitution. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Way to avoid the take, Cade.
You know me.
Duck and cover.
Hot take. 1952, Ronald Reagan, Nancy Davis marry.
Nice.
Ronald and Nancy. 1829, Andrew Jackson holds open house at the White House.
As this is a big block of cheese day.
What's that?
Was that Andrew Jackson? It's a couple of West Wing episodes. There was an American president who had a big old block, like some group brought him a big old block, and he served it to everybody who came in that day. Big block of cheese day.
It wasn't fast food burgers?
No.
No?
No. But basically, the premise of the whole thing was the government is of the people, by the people, and for the people, so welcome in the people.
1966, I don't know what the controversy was, but John Lennon sparked up his first major controversy.
Okay.
1952, Ernest Hemingway finishes The Old Man and the Sea.
Really?
Yes.
That's a terrible book.
2005, this day in history.
Wow, nothing. I did that on purpose just to see if I could trigger you at all. No, nothing. Okay.
Martha Stewart sent to the slammer.
Ooh. FDR inaugurated, Martha Stewart sent to jail. Nice.
1861, Honest Abe Lincoln inaugurated.
Yes, sir.
Famous birthdays today. Draymond Green, 31. That guy doesn't start any
Have you
BS.
seen the sketch drawing? Because they didn't have photography. Have you seen the sketch drawing of Abraham Lincoln being sworn in?
I have not.
Okay, so yeah, you put your hand on the Bible and raise your other hand.
Correct, yeah.
The drawing of Lincoln makes it look like he's an eager student waiting to be called on in class.
Wasn't he 8'2"?
Like he was, but like he's not just like he doesn't just raise your right hand like to the level like where it's parallel with your head. He's got it up like he's Horseshack and welcome back out of Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter.
Rumor has it he had to be sworn in by a giraffe.
He did. No, well, it looks like what was Hans Gruber's character in Harry Potter?
Oh, I didn't even know he was in Harry Potter.
I think
I haven't
Hans
seen
Gruber,
Harry Potter. So.
Hans Gruber was in Harry Potter, wasn't he? What's his name? Rickman? Alan? Adam?
I've never
something?
seen any of the Harry Potters.
Yeah, me neither. You saw Hans Gruber. You saw
Yeah,
Die
I know
Hard.
who Hans Gruber is. Yeah. Quarterback is toast. Draymond Green, 31 today.
Yes, sir.
Catherine O'Hara. She'll always be the mom on Home Alone, but most recently that show about the creek that I don't want to say the first word.
Bleeps Creek.
Yeah. She's 67. Patricia Heaton, 63. Boy,
Deborah.
3 ye's ago today.
Deborah, 63.
3 years ago today, we lost Luke Perry. And
oh wow.
You know this. I'm certainly a big fan of comedy. 1994, this day in history, John Candy died.
Aw.
Yeah, Uncle Buck.
94?
94.
2000. Wait.
This is 94. Yeah.
Wow.
I thought it was later.
Yeah.
Than that. I didn't think he passed that early.
That
in
is
the 90s.
forever ago. Also, Ray Boom Boom Mancini, born on this day in 1961.
Let's see. Today, there's a lot of days today. National Employee Appreciation Day.
Okay.
National Pound Cake Day. Give me a break. National Safety Day. Okay, cool. National Tartar Sauce Day. Rocco could probably play into that, right?
You know what, though? I think that's unintentionally appropriate.
Yeah. Old Inauguration Day. So there you go.
Yep.
Toy Soldier Day. Again, give me a break. This is great because it fits in with Lenten time of the year. World Day of Prayer for March 4th.
Okay.
And World Obesity Day.
We're not going to tie those last two together, are we?
No, I was trying just
moving on.
They were
Moving
just
on.
a
It's all
list.
good. It's all
part
good.
of a list.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get
Yeah.
it.
And that is this day in history.
All right. Well, we are due up for a break. I appreciate it, Kate. We are due up for a break. Let's take that break. When we come back, we're talking new schools for Baton Rouge next. All right.
I try to do Stu Wildcats is weekend observations, just with the intro.
Oh, I missed that. That was nicely done.
I can totally see you in high school. I know who you were. I know what kid you were. Hi. Hello. You look stressed. You okay? We're getting you right in the middle.
That's his default position.
Okay. So wherever you want. If this is on camera, that's off camera. You have the option. I see you in glasses too, by the way.
Are you okay? So you're on or not?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
She wanted to come see.
All good.
The next time, Diane.
All right.
She's coming. She's gonna run this ship. Thanks for having me on, by the way. I
Of
really
course.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I love that you love teachers.
Well, my mom's a teacher.
I know.
I kind of have to.
That's right.
So, all right, grab a seat.
Yeah.
I don't have your title.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, so I'm senior director. You can just say senior director of talent. Quick and dirty one.
Let me swing this around.
Oh, should I move over here too? Sorry.
No, you're
I'm
good.
just-
You're good.
there's
You're
no
good.
COVID rules now.
No, and
So I'm like, hey, it's so good to see humans.
it's yes.
So look out for some delays that may be going on now on Cooper. I-12 at Millerville, slightly under the speed limit westbound. This camera angle kind of makes it look worse than it is, but
We'll do a little quick update on new schools first, just kind of overall. So, is she saying that every time, or are we running the same one every time?
It's a different one than last time.
All right.
Oh, good.
that's gonna be a good day.
What?
The ferry's running.
Oh yeah, big time.
I'm gonna start book. I want to book with him every time. I want to book with.
It's.
We're gonna bring people to you. Right?
817 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hour 3 of Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Let's talk teachers. Let's talk schools. Let's talk charter schools. Let's talk with New Schools for Baton Rouge. Senior Director for Talent, Emily LeBeau, joins us. Welcome back.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
Glad to have you back on because you got some stuff coming up. But before we get to that, I want to dive into where New Schools for Baton Rouge is right now because there's been so much growth in the charter space in recent years, and it looks like it's only accelerating from here. Yeah. Where are we at right now?
I mean, there's a lot of exciting things. I think I would start with our new executive director, Ken Campbell, who is coming on board and has got a vision for some amazing opportunities for our community that's just going to launch off the shoulder of giants that Ken and Brenna had. We are creating more and more opportunities for students to have access to high-quality education.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, because your mother was an educator, that means they have to have access
Still
to
is.
high-quality teachers.
Yes.
And so that's where Teach 225 came from. And that's
Okay.
one of the things I'm excited about that New Schools has launched.
Mhm.
So NSBR launched Teach 225, which is an organization that is dedicated solely to helping recruit and retain educators in Baton Rouge. And that's not just charter, but that's for the traditional public schools, like in the EBR. That's for the private schools where your kids go, right? That's
Yes.
the charter schools. It's all kids, all teachers.
And this is one of the parts of the conversation that gets overlooked. Every time somebody starts talking about charter schools, the conversation gets hijacked into you're just trying to destroy public schools. No, this is the rising tide that lifts all boats.
Yes.
I don't, other than just to restate it and get it back on the rails, I don't know where else to take the conversation other than that. So the new boss has some ideas?
Yeah, I'm excited. He just started, bless his heart. His first week was officially this week.
Okay.
He's incredible. He is a fixture in our community. He's done amazing things with Idea Schools, and he's just an innovative thinker who's really good at building relationships with people, which is important whenever you're talking about schools, kids, educators.
Yes. Is Chris like lurking around the building, like peeking through the windows,
So
making sure everything's still in order?
Yeah, I think Chris will
creeps.
always be a presence.
You
Much
know-
like John Spain sneaks in, I think Chris is going to sneak in.
Yeah.
Which is great because it's his baby.
It
You know?
is.
But he's doing amazing things at BRAF, and there's good opportunity.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's long term. Everybody's going to work out just right, but it's going to be a little weird because it's just there's the association right there, right?
It is.
It's like when the Hornets changed their name to the Pelicans.
That's a good analogy.
How long did it take to start calling them the Pelicans? It took me at least 3 years.
Yeah.
So
I would say, though, Ken is so good, it's going to take maybe 3 days or 3 weeks.
Okay.
Like, he's going to bring it so quickly.
well, I haven't even had him in studio yet. So
Just wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on
Yeah,
board.
You get me. I'm sorry. This
No,
is
no,
you
no.
get Ginger
just-
from the team.
It's welcome, very much, always. So when it comes to the charter schools, one of the things I've been noticing is more specialization.
Yep.
Is that a trend that's going to continue?
Yeah, I think we have to ask ourselves, what are the gaps in the market and what is it that students need? And that is where charters play an amazing role as they help fill that gap. You see, for example, BASIS. BASIS does a phenomenal job of a rigorous curriculum with a heavy focus in a lot of your sciences and maths.
Right.
And then you have new schools coming down the line that will focus more on humanities and the Socratic method of thinking with great hearts. There's all kinds of specialized schools that'll be coming our way that I think offer unique opportunities for kids to really find their opportunity to shine. Same thing for educators, right? So
Yes.
I appreciated that you brought up earlier that this is the opportunity for rising boats.
Yes.
Right? Rising
Well-
tides lifts all boats. I always describe teaching like dating, right? So you might be dating the traditional schools and EBR. You might be dating the private school, and it may not work. You may not feel the passion anymore. That doesn't
Okay.
mean that you have to leave the profession. You can find a different role within your community, and that might be at a charter. That might be at EBR, and it might be at a private school. Just because your current relationship working or your current placement isn't working doesn't mean that you leave the profession. You find a new one that works for you.
And that's what Teach 225 is all about. One more before we move it over to Teach 225. One of the specialization schools, Helix, is doing the aviation one.
Yes.
Did I see a sign on Nicholson for Legal Academy?
They have a legal academy, and it's amazing. So they have Helix Legal, Helix Aviation. And the principals over there are two dynamic women who are doing phenomenal things. And I would encourage you to check it out if you want a niche opportunity that's just going to help your kid really excel, whether it's aviation or legal.
You had me until you started bringing in more lawyers. Like, we don't need that. We don't need that. Come on.
They don't have to be a lawyer to understand the law and how the system works.
That's
Feel
fair.
empowered,
No,
right?
that's
You
okay.
should know what
Touche.
your rights
That's
are.
fair.
Your social contract says that you should.
All right. Teach 225, virtual teacher career fair coming up 1 week from yesterday, March 10th, correct?
Yes, it's
Okay.
exciting.
What do we need to know?
So a couple things. Whether you are a current teacher and you're looking for a new opportunity or some place that you want to go differently, if you are a recent graduate, or maybe you're somebody who's like, you know what, during this time in my life, I realized I'm not happy at my current job. Maybe I own restaurant businesses, and really my heart is saying I want to be a teacher. You can come to Teach 225, and you can sign up at the virtual career fair, and what you can do is you can actually meet all kinds of representatives from the Baton Rouge community. And so what's exciting about that is that it's from the safety and the privacy of your own home. So you don't have to worry about weather, traffic, or running into any awkward situations.
Okay.
And you can meet with people from charter, private, as well as EBR school. So there's all kinds of opportunities.
What's been so when it comes to new schools, the natural association is the charter because that was the new.
Yep.
That's the new in new schools, right? We've had private, we've had public forever. What's been the buy-in from the public and the private ends of this? Because both, I could see a hesitancy from either saying, whoa, our turf.
Yep. So, and that's where Teach 225 came in, right? So it actually was created to help break down those barriers and those silos.
Okay.
It's also a product of, I think, relationships. I've been a teacher and a principal in this community for 16 plus years, and people know when I say, like, this is about finding great opportunities for all teachers, they believe it because the proof is in the pudding. Dana Morrison at EBR does phenomenal work recruiting for the teachers in the district, and she has seen the work that we continue to do, and she's getting benefits because if someone's not a good teacher for a charter, I send them to Dana. Dana does the same thing. It's about finding the right fit for our teachers as opposed to fighting over turf right now. Because really, at the end of the day, it's about, do our kids in Baton Rouge have access to great teachers? Period.
I want to revisit what you started down the path of when, unfortunately, pointing to Rocco a minute ago, talking about if you're a restaurateur, I want to get into that. So how big of a trend is that? How much do we see of someone who gets a good ways into a career, like let's say they're a mechanical engineer or whatever, they've got applicable skills but don't know how to translate that into teaching yet? How popular is that, and how much does that person need to attend this virtual career fair?
I feel like, I mean, I couldn't have, you set that up just beautifully. If
Thank
we could
you.
pay you to do that at every time, that would
Well,
be amazing.
I mean,
that's exactly what we want, right? So people who have amazing skill sets and passions, come share that with the students. And so for people who are uncertain of, is this a career path I want to go down? You should attend the fair. If it's somebody who's like, I'm thinking about maybe switching careers, you should attend the fair. If you're wondering, how do I become a certified teacher? You should attend the fair, because we're going to have certification partners. So it's a one-stop shop for anyone who's thinking about, how do I get more involved in my community through pursuing a career in education.
What are they going to see when they get there? I would imagine if it's a virtual fair, there's not going to be a whole lot of back and forth. It's going to be primarily one directional, maybe.
So I'm glad you asked that. So it's what's really cool is with the advancement in technology. So you're going to enter into what's a common ground, and then you get to choose which booth you want to go to. So each school has set up booths that talk about who they are, what they are, and what we call the employee value proposition. Why should you come work for us, right?
Okay.
You can go into the booth, and then you can click into either a text chat or you can do a video chat. And so you have the opportunity to engage in a way that you feel most comfortable. And for anyone who still feels a little nervous or uncertain, we actually offer trainings leading up to the fair so that we can help upskill you and help make sure that you're comfortable and you're presenting your best self.
Wow. Like a prep for the virtual fair. I like that. Yeah, the idea of changing careers, it's
So Brian,
no.
curious.
It's an idea that's been brought up on this show a lot because when the pandemic hit and so many people lost their jobs, it was the prime opportunity. We've talked with the Baton Rouge Area Chamber about this a lot.
Yes.
That if you've ever thought about jumping ship, that was the time to do it. When there was, and those government funds, a lot of those government funds have kind of dried up by now, but the fire might already be lit, and it might be still the time to get out of what you've been doing because you've been having that itch, that inkling to go after something else.
Or maybe you're looking for some stability, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I tease Rocco, but I also say that we got some phenomenal people from the restaurant industry who had great skill sets. If you can wait on a table and keep people happy while they're hangry, you can work in a classroom. You can help entertain and inspire the next generation of leaders in our community. Those people transferred from one industry into our industry and found stability that they'd been looking for. And so it's a good opportunity.
The Teach 225 Virtual Teacher Career Fair, Thursday, March 10th from 4 to 6 p.m. Where do they need to go to sign up? What do they need to do aside from if they need any prep work ahead of time? What's involved?
Go to teach225.com, sign up. It asks you to upload your resume, but if you don't have one, don't let that be the sticker. It's okay. If you don't have your resume updated, still attend the fair. See what your options are in Baton Rouge. If you have an inkling of curiosity or you're like, I wonder, please attend. And if you're not interested, I would ask that you share teach225.com with anyone that you know that you think would be a good teacher. We've all got friends in the community, especially at church, and they might be the next best teacher for your student. So share the information of teach225.com.
How often do y'all do this?
Once a year, sometimes 3 times a year. It just depends.
Okay.
Yeah, but definitely at least once a year.
We got about a minute and a half left.
Yeah.
Do you have a success story from a previous one? You
Yes.
You don't have to call them out by name if you don't
Okay.
want to, but you can.
Okay, so we've had a couple individuals. Let's see, one young woman who had pursued a career in psychology. She wasn't happy. Then she realized the missing element were kids, and so she used her psychology degree to pursue teaching. She wasn't certified as a teacher, so we were able to connect her with Louisiana Resource Center for Educators.
Mm-hmm.
So she was getting paid to teach while getting her certification, and now she is thriving. She loves working with students and applying the skill sets she learned when she went to school to be a psychologist.
the results are tangible. I mean, they're two eyes looking right back at you every single time. It is. I'm the son of a teacher, so I know I've been sold many times over. You know, I don't need the sales pitch on my end. So Teach 225 virtual teacher career fair. It is March 10th, Thursday, March 10th, from 4 to 6 p.m. Teach225.com.
Yes, teach225.com.
And they need to bring anything with them, like upload any resumes, nothing like that?
So it is encouraged but not required. So
Okay.
if you don't have the resume, you should still attend.
Emily LeBeau, Senior Director for Talent for New Schools for Baton Rouge. Thank you so much for popping back on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Bye,
My
y'all.
pleasure at all. All right. You hear Rocco clapping in the background. He's coming up next. We're talking Lent in our next segment. Before we get to that segment, though, hey, my friend Mitch would like you to sleep with him. That sounds awful when I say it out loud. My friend Mitch owns Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. He would like you to swing on by and get yourself a better night's sleep by getting yourself a good mattress. 4065 Florida Boulevard or the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2. A productive day starts with a good night's sleep. If you don't have a good mattress, you're not getting a good night's sleep. By the way, if you mention you heard about it right here, you will get free delivery. Mitch has deals going on all the time. Now, just like any other time of the year, he's got a number of deals to help put you in a new mattress at the best rates around, at the best possible price around. Like I said, free delivery if you mention you heard it here. You will also get, you'll get a free pillow as well if you mention you heard about it right here. 4065 Florida Boulevard is the Mid-City location. Swing by, test drive as many mattresses as you like. Lay down. Fall asleep if you can. He'll wake you up a little bit later on. 4065 Florida Boulevard or the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2 for the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. We're talking Po' Boys next. All right. No, thank you.
You're the first person I'm coming to hire. We're going to revamp the education system in Baton Rouge. 2 people at a time.
Jasmine's coming too. She doesn't know it, but congratulations. Yes. So you had it. I can't wait.
Jasmine, you're on mic next time. You don't get away with it twice. So. Algeria over Algiers. Yeah, why did he say Algiers? That made more sense. It's time to stop choosing Algeria over Avondale. Thank you.
How good was that? I'm hot to teach you now, baby.
She is so wonderfully bubbly.
Yeah, she is sharp. I was talking to her outside. She is sharp lady, man.
Is this the same table that was outside?
I got this one from downstairs. The other one was short, so
Yeah.
this is the high one.
Hopefully.
Higher. Yeah, the other one was like a balloon table.
Oh yeah, that's way better. Way better.
Can't be doing a balloon table.
Nope.
Hurt my back. Hurt my back.
Can you tell your Ash story on air? I figure we're just going to tell Lennon stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun. We're doing blackened grilled shrimp po' boy, dressed with pepper jack cheese, Creole mustard mayonnaise, jalapeno peppers.
Damn.
I don't know if you can handle it, my friend.
Bro.
Just don't know if you can do it. Because it's hard to work being this good right now. I brought enough to make 3 larges. I figure
Excellent.
you're still eating light.
I actually am.
I'm going to talk to them people on Monday.
Go Slim?
Yeah.
Please let them know you heard about it here.
I was doing that intermittent fasting, man. I lost a bunch of weight, and then a hurricane hit, and started eating bad again. It just 20 pounds back on. I was on my way.
Intermittent fasting, I like, but at the same time, though, I find that I gorge. I binge when it's time to eat.
You can't drink alcohol. That's the whole deal, man.
Well,
You can't drink.
I mean, and you can't give up alcohol when the Mercy Fair is on its way back.
Well, so I fast, and so I quit drinking at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So I stopped January 1st, which is pretty cool, especially when you go to Mardi Gras and you're sober. Everybody else is just hammered. It's actually a much different perspective.
I would
and
imagine.
I haven't done this all the time. This is like one of the first years. Actually, I did it last year and this year, but I didn't do it last year because of Lent or coming up to Lent. I just did it because I was trying to lose weight and get some weight off. And it's just I saw you. I mean, we didn't go down Mardi Gras Day, but I saw y'all down there Mardi Gras Day. And who's that crew you were rolling around with, man?
It's my cousin.
That's your cousin?
Yeah.
That's like a brass band type deal.
Oh, so he hires the brass band. I don't know them. They were really good though.
He was the singer?
No.
They had a big guy with a beard and.
Nah, that guy's just in the band.
Okay.
Look like Captain Caveman?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Bro, your dude's got more hair on his shoulders than I got on my head, and I've got luscious hair on my
It's
head.
like he was wearing a fur coat, man.
Yeah. So
It's horrible.
he had a megaphone, and every time he'd sing into the megaphone. So it had like this whole Squirrel Nut Zippers vibe to it, like it was like low tech, distorted. Sounded amazing. It was like we started off right in front of in Jackson Square, right in front of the cathedral, right? And we all met up at 9 o'clock in the morning. Really tame. I thought the quarter was going to be so much more raucous than it was. It was fantastic. Yeah. It was fantastic. I don't know that. I don't.
A whole lot of shootings or anything, which is always a good thing. I mean,
No, there was.
there were some car break-ins, but I mean.
The shootings.
It happens everywhere.
The shootings are never. It's never near the routes.
They had a bunch of people fighting. Like.
Yeah.
I mean,
And.
so you put 100,000 people together in alcohol.
Right.
There's going to be some fights. Take it out, let it proof a little bit, not proof, but let it sit in the air, and kind of hardens it up a little bit. Because this isn't the whole pole loads. This is just a half. They're pre-cut. The pole loads are just automatically hard.
That's my cousin in the red.
Wow.
And that's his uncle in the purple. Which
Gotcha.
the guy in the purple is a priest.
He's a priest.
Yeah. Imagine that, huh?
Well, the guy that's Father Carey, that's the priest downtown at the cathedral.
Yeah.
I saw him Saturday before we went down. I was eating at Frank's early in the morning. And I'm like, what you doing here, man? Because, I see him in there with Father Alello. Is that
Yeah.
how you say
From
his name?
St. Thomas More.
See him in there. Father Beard when he's in town. I see him. Because I go to Frank's almost every morning. I said, what you doing? He goes, man, I'm getting out of town, Spanish town today. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, oh, that's right. It is downtown. He's like, that parade is just.
It's so.
It's great, but it's.
No, I know. I always get in trouble because I crap all over that parade all the time.
Yeah,
But you can't, like. There's a difference between clever and profane.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the difference, then you're not smart enough to be writing stuff on the side of a float.
Yeah, there's definitely a different class of people that are on that parade route.
All right, y'all. It is time. Returning to the microphone from Rocco's Po' Boys, it is one Rocco Moro. Rocco! What's happening, brother?
It's good to be back, Brian.
It's always good to have you here.
It's good to be here. Glad to be heard. How about Emily, man, huh?
Bro.
I'm hot for teacher, brother.
I'm telling dude.
Woo! Let me tell you.
She does such a phenomenal job. And
That's awesome.
like if you don't want to get up and become a teacher after that, then I can't help you.
One of the things we were talking about out in the lobby area.
Yeah, I heard
before she
old
came
Rocco
on.
Ramsey out there giving financial advice.
We were talking a little bit about. We'll
Better
get
than
into
I
that
deserve.
later, but I will tell you this: every one of us has a story about a teacher that has impacted them, not just at some point, but it's that moment in time. I'm talking about they impact you forever.
Oh,
you
totally.
know, and we were discussing that, and my wife was an educator. Your mom was a teacher. I mean, your wife works at Mercy. I mean, those people that do those that give their lives to educating our children are the ones that are the least paid. There's a problem there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a serious disconnect.
Well, and
and that gap has to be changed, which is why when I run for mayor,
Here we
do
go.
everything I can.
Here we go. We're not a minute into the segment.
Everything
the
I can.
campaign is launching again.
To possibly help the teachers of East Baton Rouge Parish.
You know someone's going to hold you to that promise, right?
I don't care.
Okay.
I will. I told you my top 3 priorities: law enforcement, first responders, teachers.
Okay.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yep.
Okay. So if you're out there and you're listening to any one of those professions, we need to talk. But coming off this Mardi Gras season, man.
We are in the season of Lent.
I was singing on the way here, man, and I was like, it's Mardi Gras time. And then I'm like, man, it's over. Now we're in the season of Lent.
Which is when we all sacrifice, Rocco.
Yeah, man.
What
you giving up? What you giving up?
For Lent?
What you giving up?
So we're going to do a number of different service things instead of giving something up. Normally we don't.
That's cheating.
No,
That's cheating. You gotta give
I
something
think it's
up.
the other way. I think it's the other way around.
No,
I'm
you
not
gotta
going to have
give
chocolate for 40 days.
Got to give something up. I'm giving up a little whiskey,
Really?
Yeah.
That's bold. I think Christy's doing
I never
the same
said
thing.
anything about beer.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring on the tequila
That
because
is
you're
a
giving up whiskey.
sacrifice.
It is.
I am giving up all that whiskey that Stewart's been turning me. You know what I'm talking about.
No, I know.
So, but when got my ashes? You got your ashes?
I got my ashes.
Yeah.
Or as Cleo, as Father Cleo likes to say, we went and passed the ash.
Well,
so I went to noon mass on Wednesday.
Yeah, I saw your wife in there with little Jimbo fighting him up the aisle, and so he got up there, got his.
Christy brought the kids to 8 a.m.
I was there.
Look, if you're not in there for 8 a.m. or 6:30 a.m., what you're taking on is basically the largest crowd you're going to encounter outside of an LSU football game.
Oh yeah, the noon is crazy, and getting out of there, traffic is just nuts. But at least we have those good Catholics out there that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're walking by faith, and they're getting their ashes. Man. And look, for the first time, I got to share my story with you.
Yes.
For the first time ever in my entire life, as far back as I can remember, because there was a time when I considered myself kind of like a closet Catholic,
Right.
I would get my ashes. I would go on Easter. I would go on Christmas Eve. Maybe make a Sunday here and there.
Yeah.
But, of course, we talked about it, Things have changed. My journey of faith has been different. Went on an Acts retreat with you.
Yes.
Which, by the way, Acts 7 is coming up. So if anybody's interested in going, get a hold of me and Brian Haldane. We'll put you in touch with the right people. But I walked up there, and it was Father Newton. Now, Father Newton just got back from India. And, he's got a little bit of an accent. Yeah, he went back home.
I thought he went to Disney World.
He might have been there, too.
Okay.
Yeah, Disney World, India, Key Largo, whatever, man.
Same.
Yeah, he was somewhere. He was on vacation. And normally they say, when they put the ashes on you, from dust you came.
Remember,
yes.
Yeah, remember you are from dust, and to dust you shall return.
So my man hits me with a repent your sins and follow the gospel, dude. And boom, he puts the sign of the cross on me.
Nice.
And I walked out, and as I was walking out, I was like, man, that priest has never said that to me before. That's the first time a priest, and of course, I had to look it up and see, man, is he going off script here for me?
Was this just for you?
He was like, dude,
what do you know?
You need a little more than. So
I mean, that was supposed to stay in the confessional.
So I'm walking out and getting my truck and didn't bother to look at myself in the mirror because as a narcissist, I know I look good, so I don't have to look at myself.
Repent your sins, man.
Yeah, I know I'm looking good, right? So I go to the service station, get a little gas.
Yeah.
And people are like looking at me like I'm crazy. So I'm like, okay, they just must see the sign of the cross. No big deal. So then I jump back in my truck and I go to eat breakfast at Frank's. Same thing. People in there staring at me like, completely. And I'm like, Well, man, look, they looking at me. I'm Catholic. They see it. Man, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And it is a good thing.
It is.
And I'm proud of my faith.
Yeah.
And I'll wear it. I'll fight for it. I'll die for it. Period.
Yes.
Okay? And you do the same. All our brothers out there in our community of faith would do the same. So when I get in my truck, I had to fix the hair, because, every couple of hours I got to re-gel.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. I've
You don't have
solved that
problem.
problem.
Yeah, you
No.
don't
We
have
keep it.
that
We keep it
problem.
high and tight over here.
With people like luscious hair like me, I had to re-gel. Right?
Mine was too luscious. I had to dial it in.
Okay. Looked like Ric Flair back in the day, dude. Rolex wearing. Don't make me go. Woo! Rolex wearing. Limousine driving. Jet flying. Son of a gun. And I'm having a hard time keeping these New Balances on this floor. Woo!
You're actually in New Balances.
That's correct.
All right.
Good shoes.
So you check the.
So I checked the thing. Dude, when I looked at myself in the mirror, I understood why people were looking. I looked like a damn coal miner.
Yeah.
I had stuff all over my forehead, on my nose, on my cheeks.
Newton will get you, man.
I'm telling you, dude, he laid it on me
It's
heavy.
this close to blackface. Like,
And that
Newton will
might have
get you.
been why he did it, because he was like, this dude really needs it. He
And
has
see-
been not living well and doing right this holiday Mardi Gras season. So
Here's
there
the
you
thing.
go.
For those that aren't familiar with him, he's not the largest guy out there. So it's not like you're going to get like these Andre the Giant paws on your forehead, right? But yeah, when Father Newton gets you, you're getting the big old cross.
He's got hands like, you ever see that Saturday night skit? But back
With
in
tiny
the day,
hands,
the
with
tiny
Kristen
hand
Wiig.
lady.
Well, what are you going to do him
He's
like
got
that?
baby hands.
I was trying to be gentle.
He's got baby hands, man.
I was
He's got
trying
these
to.
little bitty.
Oh, why are you going to do Father Newton like that?
Now he's he's outstanding. I mean, I
Oh, he's
love him.
fantastic, yes.
I love him to death. He is the coolest cat, which makes a profound impact on me all the time because like I've told you this before. Him being from India, he's got a little bit of an accent.
Yeah.
And some people like, man, I have a hard time. Listen, I'm telling you, I hear that man with great clarity.
Oh, completely.
And you know why? Because I'm listening.
Mm-hmm.
So those out there that say, I can't understand, that's because you're not listening.
Sandwiches
Quit
and sermons.
broadcasting,
That's
like
what
Val
Rocco does.
tells me, like Kelly tells me. Tune in and listen.
Absolutely.
Listen. And that's always been part of my problem in my faith journey anyway, is I got to listen more.
Yes.
So people need
Follow
to
us.
listen more.
All right.
That's where I'm going.
We need to make a sandwich at some
I've
point.
got a sandwich for you today, Mr. Haldane. I am going off the charts. Now, of course, it's Lent season.
Yes.
And one of the things we do at Rocco's is we sell a ton of seafood, oyster po' boys, catfish.
Which was
shrimp.
exactly why I want you on today, because
Absolutely.
you are like, if I'm looking for roast, if I'm looking for a Crescent City connection, that's where I'm going. But we don't do that on a Friday in Lent, so.
We've been voted the best shrimp po' boy in the state by several different publications.
But dude, that's fried shrimp.
Yeah. So what I'm doing
That's not what
today,
you got here.
I got grilled shrimp today. And we do sell a grilled shrimp po' boy. But as we're always doing, we got seafood gumbo today on the menu.
Okay.
We got crawfish etouffee. Now, we are going to do live and boiled crawfish starting next week. We're not doing it this Friday.
All right.
Because, everybody's on vacation and people coming back in town and even some of the guys we do business
Everybody's
with.
got to hit up their
You
Knights
know,
of
Mike
Columbus
Tremonti
fish fry.
is
Yeah,
a good
yeah.
friend of mine. I get crawfish from him. We help each other out, and sell live. He sells live, whatever. So I spoke to him midweek, and he was out of town. So it's just going to be easier next week to get that ball rolling.
Okay.
And it'll give us time to adjust because we have Ash Wednesday and Friday the first week of
Oh,
Lent
yeah?
in 1 week, and it was really busy Wednesday. So we'll be doing that next week. So every week, we'll have a tuna po' boy also this week. But what we're going to do today for our specialty po' boy,
Yes.
blackened grilled shrimp,
Okay.
dressed, lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, pickle,
Mm-hmm.
little curveball in there, Creole mustard.
Okay.
You follow me?
I do.
Pepper jack cheese.
Okay.
Topped off with some jalapenos.
So I could smell the jalapenos as soon as you opened them up.
You got it.
Gorgeous.
You go eat. You don't want to go too much because you got the pepper jack. It's got a little pepper. You put the jalapeno, give it a little crunch.
Okay.
The jalapenos give it the crunch.
Okay.
See, and then we got the fresh New Orleans French bread, which
Which
just
is
came in
unbelievably
this
fresh,
morning.
yes.
I was even having a hard time cutting it. It's so moist and juicy and beautiful and fluffy. I couldn't even cut it with the freaking knife. And it ain't the knife, and it ain't the cutter either. You know what they say about Rocco's po' boys?
I don't know. What do they say, Rocco?
Our po' boys are so good. If you put one on top of your head, you beat your brains out with your tongue trying to get to it. I got plenty. I can keep going. Do you need me to?
I mean,
How many more minutes
we
do
got
I have?
30 seconds till break on air. We're going to continue going on YouTube, which, by the way, if you're not familiar with this segment, you want to continue going on YouTube. I assure you. If you thought that left the rails, just wait. But, yeah, 30 seconds till break.
The train's gone off the wagon quickly. I'm hoping.
What?
I'm hoping to make it these 40 days and 40 nights. I don't want the wagon to run me over. Giving up the whiskey. Not the beer.
It's going to be brutal.
It's going to be a long one. For anybody out there, whatever you're doing, make sure you stick to your guns.
All right.
And make it happen.
We're going to stick to your money now. We're going to check traffic. Coming right back on YouTube. Don't go anywhere. We're sticking here. All right. So, yeah, I went and got the ashes. I got a perfect cross this time. The very first time in my life. Ryan Cooney.
Ryan Cooney. Did he play college basketball?
Cooney?
I mean, not college basketball.
Baseball?
Baseball.
No, I don't think so.
He played college baseball?
No.
I thought somebody had posted something about. Of course, I know he coaches basketball. He's certainly not tall enough to play basketball. I thought he might have played baseball somewhere.
No, we had.
I was reading something on the post.
There was another ex-brother that was on Hernandez.
Oh, yeah,
Courtney.
yeah.
Courtney.
Courtney played baseball. Yeah.
So, yeah, I've never, every time I go, I either get the smudge, the big smudge, or this time I got an actual cross. It was unbelievable.
Where's your boy Jake at?
Party Jake?
Y'all fired him?
No. He took a couple days off. A little Thursday, Friday, Monday action. He'll be back on Tuesday.
Must be nice.
I mean,
Days off.
You know,
we
he drives a Jeep worth more than my house. His girlfriend was the Queen of Washington Mardi Gras. He just gallivants around. Oh, yeah. I don't remember her name.
Lindsay's, what's his name? Richard Lipsy. Wasn't he the king?
Lipsy was the king, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to a bunch of guys. I know you went there a couple of years ago, but I talked to a bunch of guys that went. And this girl, Susan Nelson, used to be my next-door neighbor, and they were like, it was probably one of the best ones they've ever had. He had he spared no expense, dude. He had, all these, short-topping bands and singers there. Just like Michael Bublé. I don't know if he was there, but I mean.
He was.
Was he? Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I had
So
seen something about that, but
it's
crazy.
so you got Lipsy's the king, and I had him on just beforehand to kind of preview the whole thing. I'm like, this is the first time Washington's Mardi Gras got a king that can outfit his army with both the clothing, with the uniform and the artillery.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was strong. That would have been one to been to and broadcast from. That would have been one I'd want to go to for sure. But
we almost made it happen. It got slapped together last minute. We need to get sponsorships sold. Yeah, it's a business.
I tell you though, for me though, I have to tell you, man. One of the reasons, Mardi Gras was, we wanted to go this year is because they never had it. I mean, when you grow up down there, man, it's one of those things that, over time, you would think that you would lose the desire to go.
I don't. It grows.
And it's like, as you get older, the more you want to go. And it's like,
Condon's the exact opposite.
Yeah. Well,
it's like, you didn't grow up on the road.
Right.
Shut up.
Man, you're from there. It's bred. It's in you. It's a part of you. And I look at my kids. They'll go. And they like it, but they don't like it like I like it. You know what I mean? They don't see it. And I'm like, you don't understand.
What?
There's Lee Circles right there. Like, I've been coming to. I was 5 years old standing right there.
See, I was raised on the Metry stuff. Though.
Yeah.
Like, veterans outside of Super Popeyes.
Yeah.
Remember Super Popeyes?
Yes. They had the clams and all that
stuff. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had they even had chicken and liver gizzards and all that stuff, man.
I mean, it was ridiculous.
But
yeah, it was nasty. Veterans between Bonneville and the end of the road.
They put the water chestnut and they wrap it in the bacon. They put the chicken liver in the middle. You ever had one of those? Ramaki?
No.
What?
To get in on that.
Man.
So,
man.
I mean, I wrote.
The gizzards, but the liver, the gizzards, is actually the part that they use to break up their food. That's what the gizzard's for, and it's got a funny texture to it. But like chicken, like liver itself, like I'm talking about cow, beef liver, I love it.
Yeah.
People can't. I like that irony. You know, it's like duck. A lot of people don't like duck.
I like
It's got a
duck.
real minerally, taste to it. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of blood pumping
But
through
I'm
it.
telling you, that the ramaki, man, they take it and they cook a chicken liver, they put a watercress nut, a jalapeno, and they wrap it in bacon. It's fantastic. Fantastic. He used to serve them at all the receptions in New Orleans, and I'd purposely wait. You know, I'd have a highball and wait for the guy to come out or the girl to come out with the ramaki tray, and I'd follow that son of a bugger around, man.
You know,
eating ramaki.
One more, and one more. And before you go, swing back around when you're done. Make a lap and come back.
When I tell you to leave, leave. You know.
All right. Yeah, dude, I rode in Zeus for a decade. Like, it's different when you the crews are different down there. I mean, Orion is good up here.
I rode in Orion for 2, 3.
I want
years.
in. I want to get in on Orion.
I rode for about 2. Call Darren Coates and Charles Harvey, man. They'll get you in. They're always looking for people, man. They need members. I think they had a
Charles Harvey.
Yeah, his name's Charles Harvey. You know Charles Harvey. Darren Coates.
So Gordy sent me Darren's number, but
Darren, I think is if I'm almost 100% sure of this, he started the parade with Charles.
I think that's
and
right.
I think Coates is really the one that's in charge. And I'll never forget the first parade we ever had. And Coach, he remembers this because I was on the float. I was actually on the float with Condon.
Okay.
I was on the float with Condon, and they don't want you taking your mask off because they want it to be like Bacchus and Endymion and everything
Yes.
else.
It's
And
the whole point.
we had gotten almost to the end of the route, and by that time we're schnockered, right?
Right.
Steve Farber, I don't know if you know who he is, local attorney.
And
are we on the air?
we're on the air now.
So
we're on the air now.
Story about how Coates and all we were riding in Orion, and you were talking about how you rode in Zeus for so many years, and I used to ride in the crew of Orion, and they made you keep your mask on, so
which is the way it ought to be.
Right. But when you get to the end of the parade route and you're 6, 7, 10 drinks into it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I took my mask off, and Coach was like, "Put your mask on." He was like waiting at the end of
until you're off the float. Yeah.
So I got in a little trouble. I mean, they tried to kick me out. No, they didn't. They was just like, "Man, you can't do that,"
Yeah.
I think I actually took it off and threw it. To be honest with you.
I've done that before
I threw it
too.
to somebody on the ground.
I've done that before too.
But I mean,
and then had to
it
sit
was
down
a great
for the
ride.
last
We
2
had a great
blocks.
time. It was fantastic.
All right, we got to make a sandwich. You got like 2.5 minutes left on air, and yeah, I
You want to make a sandwich now?
Let's do this.
Let's do it now.
Let's do this
All right,
now.
let me do it now.
I'll swing the mic about as far around as I can.
All right, we
but
got our New Orleans French bread, right?
got your bread.
And then we're gonna go with some mayo on the top.
Okay.
Creole mustard.
Creole mustard on the bottom.
Lettuce.
Throwing down the lettuce.
Lettuce. Tomato.
Okay.
Pickle.
Okay. Lettuce, tomato, pickle. The traditional dressing for a po' boy, aside from the Creole.
mustard.
Right.
Shredded pepper jack cheese.
Okay.
Shredded pepper jack. All right, you ready?
That is generous. Yes.
Blackened grilled shrimp.
Beautiful. Black and grilled shrimp going down.
I didn't put any gloves on because we're pressed for time.
We are pressed for time. This will
But
be
I
the
get
one that I
off my
sample.
hands.
Yes. I'll trust you.
Actually, never mind.
No. We're not talking about the
Actually,
how sanitized this one is. This will be mine. And
finish it off with some pickled jalapeno peppers. And you want to go with pickle. You don't want fresh. Fresh might be a little too hot.
Got a minute and a half. No, I can't do the fresh jalapenos, Rocco. The fresh jalapenos are too hot. The pickled ones, that's a nice little groove. All right, so Rocco's slicing up the sandwich. About to do the taste test on YouTube as we get into the break. We'll grab some pictures of it to put up on to go along with. Oh, you know what? I'm not waiting until the break.
Is this your weigh-in day?
It is my weigh-in day. I'm about to be doomed because that is just a glorious sandwich. So, the grilled shrimp, the blackened grilled shrimp po' boy, Available at Rocco's throughout Lent or year-round?
We're going to do it on Fridays during Lent. Now that it won't be every Friday. We're going to change that po' boy up every
I like
week.
it.
It'll be something
Well,
different.
and that's the thing. With Lent, you get stuck in this, it's fried catfish, it's fried catfish, it's fried catfish. No! There are so many different
And I will
fruits
tell
of the
you,
sea.
and I will tell you, this was actually done, the shrimp as far as at my house this morning before I left. Now, they won't be as blackened as it normally would if you're in the restaurant because you have the flat grill and it's a little bit more of a.
It's Rocco's on
Yeah,
Drusilla. You know where to
got
find it. Stick around on YouTube. We got to get to the Fox Business Report on air.
Come and see us for Lent.
Have a great weekend, y'all. We will see you Monday from the Pelican Institute's Solutions Summit right here on Talk 107.3. Oh, okay.
So anyway, multitude of flavors. A little bit of the heat from the cheeses.
Yeah.
Little salty spiciness from the blackened seasoning.
Yes.
The combination of the Creole mustard and the mayonnaise. Now, the Creole mustard by itself is really intense.
Yes.
You mix with that mayonnaise, kind of cuts the bite a little bit off of it, so it's not as peppery.
But they're on the opposite sides of the sandwich, so they're doing their own
So
thing.
They're doing their own thing. And then you have, your standard dress, lettuce, tomato, pickle.
Which, surprisingly enough, Creole mustard and pickle combined.
You got the sweet and the savory there almost.
Yeah.
It's almost like a
Yep.
sweetness to it.
And then let's not forget there's shrimp are just wonderful to begin with.
Yeah,
so.
well, the thing too is, any good chef or cook will tell you is you've got to have the savory and the sweetness and the spices with a balance.
Yes.
Okay? So a lot of people cook, one of the biggest things I was ever taught, and it was Chef Jeff Warner. Do you know Chef Jeff Warner?
No.
Okay, so Chris Warner was his brother, went to LSU with him. We were talking one time when he was in culinary school. Now, I didn't go to culinary school, although I'm a great cook. Thank you very much. Before you serve any meat, protein, fried food, before you serve it, the last thing you do is salt it.
Okay.
Now, that could be you put salt on it when you're cooking it, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you have to be careful because too much salt makes, salty.
Right.
But before you serve any meat, any chicken, any fried food, the last thing you do is you salt it before you serve it. And it's always better to use a coarse salt, like a sea salt.
Yeah.
Iodized salt is just not good for you. Okay.
No, health-wise it's bad. Taste-wise it's not as good.
They shouldn't use it at all. They should try and stay away from that and get you some sea salt. But you salt it a little bit. So, of course, that's the last thing I did this morning. And then threw it in the container and rushed it over here. But I'm telling you, if you think this thing tastes good here, you got to be over there.
When it's still hot.
You know, they're here and there, right?
What?
Different here and over there.
What's the difference?
Because you're here or you're there.
What are you, Yogi Berra?
No, I'm just saying.
Are you Yogi Berra all of a sudden?
I'm just telling you,
So, yeah, the difference is this was packed
Cash
up
is
and brought
just
over.
as good as money.
I'm glad you get that reference.
Okay,
I'm glad you get that reference.
You follow me?
Wherever you go, there you are.
That's correct. Are we here?
We are here.
We're going to be there later.
Well, we know we'll be there when we get there.
3358 Drusilla.
That's right, 3358 Drusilla.
Al Scramuzza, special guest today. Come and see.
This is this is ridiculous.
How old is Al Scramuzza? I want to ask you a question.
85.
I Googled this yesterday because I was interested. I wanted to know who was the first person to start boiling seafood, or the first company, and doing it and what year it was, and the type of the way they do it now. In other words, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
At every street corner, you can go get crawfish, right?
Right.
1951, Al Scramuzza.
No way.
That's what Google brought back. Now I'm thinking to myself, if Al's in his 80s, 1951, it couldn't have been. It had to be his dad. I mean, the numbers are that. He can't be. If he's in his,
He would have been
80s,
10.
That's
yeah.
right. It couldn't have been.
He would have been
him.
10. Well, I don't know how old he
So it
is.
had to be. Well, I'm saying, and it's actually a question I'm asking you too. It had to. He probably had to have his father. In 1951, he was the one credited with, according to Google, to starting bald crawfish.
I can believe that, although I'm sure there's some little punk in Mobile, Alabama is going to claim to be first.
I mean, come on.
You know.
You know, I've been to Houston. You ever ate at the crawfish places out there? You know, a lot of Vietnamese places own people own them.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. I mean, they boil them, they put them in a bag.
Al Scaramuza is 94 years old.
Good grief. It could have been him, huh?
He had COVID back in 2020, went to the hospital and got back out again. So
He's 94?
it says July 25th, 2020, according to a family friend, 92-year-old Al Scaramuza was released from East Jefferson General Hospital on Thursday night after having COVID. So he was 92 2 years ago.
Let's do the math there. He still would be too young, huh? 18? So he's 94, 1951.
I got a calculator. Let's go.
Figure it out. Run the numbers.
I'm gonna run the numbers. 2022 minus 94.
Speaking of the numbers.
1920, he'd been born in 28.
He
So
could have
51. Yeah.
He could have been. He's the guy.
He would have been 24.
I'm not good with numbers. I'm going to trust you on this.
23, 24 years old.
I've run
Depending on
numbers,
his birthday.
I take envelopes, but I don't know anything about anything else.
Take envelopes?
Yeah, we play Yahtzee.
No, I understand.
It's a joke. I mean, people
Bingo.
think, Italian, Rocco.
Bingo and whatnot.
Yeah, we're over there rolling dice.
Well,
in the back, playing cards like some people we know back in the day. Not saying any names, but yeah, man, I have to tell you, we were able to also this past week, the Advocate ran an article for us as well, or put us in an article about Lent season, which came out Wednesday, just talking about several different restaurants in the area. It's good stuff. It makes you feel like dancing.
That's the Nancy Pelosi dance.
Away. That meme hit immediately after she did it. What was it called? Memes?
Meme.
The meme? The meme was up like 10 seconds after she did it on the internet.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
And it was the most somber part of the speech, too.
Look, man, I haven't been here since the Russians invaded Ukraine, okay?
No, you haven't.
And I'm wondering, why in the heck are these people, let me tell you something about freedom, brother, and how much people in this country take it for granted, okay? Those cats are over there making Molotov cocktails to fight the Russians because they don't have weapons, okay? Now, you think about that for a second.
Bro, they were handing out guns at City Hall, but like regular, like your 9mm. Like, here, go attack this tank. Here's a Glock.
So this administration has known about this guy's propensity to invade this country for months and months and months and months and months.
Yeah.
How in the world are these people not armed? How do they not have what they need?
It's getting there.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'd rather have a gun and have it than need it and don't have it.
Right.
And so you're already 6 steps behind the pace, brother.
No, I know.
So this convoy that they had, this 40-mile convoy.
Which is a parking lot.
Got a great idea. Give those cats a couple of A-10 Warthogs.
Okay.
That thing is done.
Yeah.
You remember Iraq, when the Iraqis tried to mobilize and do that?
I do.
And they took the A-10s.
First Iraq.
The first war.
Yeah.
And they
Desert
just obliterated. Easily done. I mean, this cat's shooting weapons at freaking nuclear plants.
So, and
he's a little thrown off, as we call it. He ain't right in the head, dude. This dude is crazy. Okay, and I'm not talking about our president.
Oh, no.
I'm talking about Putin.
No.
Our president's a different story. He's crazy too. Okay,
different kind of crazy.
But our guy is like, I mean, or at least our guy is, I don't think he would even have the thought process to even come up with something. Anyway, Putin is just nuts. And the fact that he's shooting, weapons at nuclear plants tells you everything you need to know about this guy. And
you're like a 3-iron away from Chernobyl, and you're doing this there?
I mean, this is...
It's like, bro, you know what's going to happen.
This is serious. I mean, it's really serious. And I worry for the people of Ukraine. I worry the people of Eastern Europe. I worry for them. Because, I mean, you think this guy, it was prophesied the Lion of the East is going to come one day. This guy needs to be removed from power. And I hope and I pray that the people in Russia see this guy for who he is. Because I will tell you, you know, now that these sanctions are going back and they're trying to, it's particularly food and things of that nature, and they're starting to try to cut off supplies, and these people in Russia got a little taste of freedom and what it was like to be able to go in a grocery store and buy a loaf of bread and not have the government give it to you.
Right.
There's going to be some uproar.
Oh,
okay? And
no doubt.
And it's going to happen. So I'm confident this cat's going to bury himself in his own time, because I think the people of Russia have seen the different side of freedom as compared to living under a communist regime, and that's going to change things. That's going to be a game changer for everybody. But in the meantime, how in the hell do you not have weapons for these people after you knew he was coming? You knew he was coming. You did nothing.
America's history. We have a history of arming Russia's enemies and having us bite us in the ass.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about that. Okay.
Afghanistan.
Well, all right. So
all their weapons
but the war,
were ours.
The world was a different place then, Brian.
Okay, that's
you were
not. You're
either
not wrong.
East or West.
Okay.
You know? And so
no, I know. But
look what was the end result of arming them.
Yeah.
The Russians turned, tuck-tailed, and left. You know. And so same.
But that wasn't
here.
the end. The world kept spinning, and then one day Osama bin Laden pops up. Like within that context, moving it over to here. Why aren't we continuing to arm the world? Well, it wasn't as pressing at the time.
Yeah, but I mean, Osama didn't pop up with frickin' 40-mile convoys of frickin' tanks and weaponry. I mean, you know, he came back with guys flying in planes into trade centers and stuff. So that was a different type of war and a different philosophy that he was propagating, you know. And so, you know, when you have this issue that we have now, and these events were calculated. I mean, you knew they were coming, and you still did nothing. And it's just, I feel so bad.
I don't disagree with you.
Well, I understand, and I guess the end result or the end game for me is, you know, I look at these people in the Ukraine, and I have several friends that have gone over there, that have studied and talked about how nice of people they are. Man, they just want to be free, man.
Bro, did you
They
hear?
want to be free. Models, freaking. What's his name? Kolitnikov, that used to be the world heavyweight champion.
Yes,
he's like the mayor of one of the cities. Though, is it
yes.
Kyiv? I think.
I don't think it's Kyiv,
but he's the mayor of a
yeah,
city.
yeah.
They showed us the
Klitschko.
Klitschko. The dude's worth millions and millions of dollars, dude. He's out there fighting right now.
How about this? And we had audio from it earlier.
So I said people need to understand and respect freedom for what it is in this country and not take it for granted. And that's the end result if you start. That's what happens, you know.
Jim
Stuff
Inkster.
like that.
Jim Inkster had Roman Rubchenko on his show earlier this week.
Oh, did he really?
Who's in Ukraine right now?
The boxer?
No, the LSU basketball player.
Roman Rubchenko. When did he play for us?
Into the Dale Brown era. Like
I
between
remember that name. Yeah, he was with
it was like 91 to 94
Russell
up in there.
Grant and Chris Jackson and those guys. Was he on
Right
that
after
team?
Chris Jackson.
Right after
Well, he might have been on there with Chris Jackson.
Dirk Hammock.
It was right after Gert.
Yeah.
Gert Hammock and then Roman.
Whatever happened to that cat?
Gert? He played NBA ball for a little while, played some European ball. He was very much, if I recall, a testament to lazy.
He was big.
Not as much as Stanley Roberts.
He was big. But, I mean, man, I ran into Big Daddy Wayne Sims, man, one day. You know, when I was at LSU, I used to live in Fountainhead Apartments. And in one summer, actually 2 summers, Singleton, Sims,
Well,
Shaquille.
you know about Singleton, right?
Well, all them cats lived in my apartment complex. What about Singleton? No, I don't know. Did he get in trouble or something?
This is one of my favorite things, blowing people's minds with this story.
Go ahead, hit me with it.
He's a porn star.
Is he really?
Yeah.
What's his handle?
Wait, it's gonna come up in my Google history because I had to look this up a week ago.
Basketball player too. What can you say?
Was it Vernell?
But you remember
with the little Band-Aid?
Yeah, you remember when Hurricane George hit?
Yeah.
Okay, so 91, 92-ish, whatever. So the whole Tigerland area got flooded, right?
Yeah.
Powell was out. We stayed. I never went home. I called my parents. I said, look, I'm going to take my shots up here. So I ain't like coming to Chalmette. I'm gonna stay up here and see if we can ride it out, And we had some damage. Our power went out. The power was out for almost a week and a half, 2 weeks. But it was a different time. You were in college, and I'll never forget Shaquille, and we had a buddy that had a P-Rog, and Shaquille and Vernell got in it, and they were paddling because the water was so high. We had like 2 feet of water in our apartment, man. And then right when you get. Yeah, like that area, that Circle K right by that corner where the Domino's is and Reggie's?
Yeah.
That slopes backwards. And so that whole area right there, that middle of that intersection had about 3 or 4 feet of water. And these dudes paddling this because they fall over in like 3 feet of water and they
flapping around.
Like,
yeah.
Stand up. just stand up,
Too good.
So Shaq stands up and it's like to his knees.
Right. Right. But like before this, I'm drowning, I'm dying. Just pop up.
Man. We had a good time, man.
Vernell Singleton's name is Asante Stone.
Asante Stone.
Yes. Dude, look, I grew up. That was my era of LSU basketball right there. I loved Vernell Singleton. Shocked.
So
I blow people's minds.
Diggler, right?
No.
I'm trying to think of a good. There's already a Rocco mediate.
Well,
no.
I thought he's a golfer.
Is he?
Yeah.
There's a Rocco somebody.
Probably. I mean,
not that I know, because I never look at those sites. I really don't. I never. I've got them off my cell phone. I got it blocked.
Everything follows you. You can't.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't want the government to know what you're doing, and you were afraid to take the COVID vaccine because the government's tracking you.
They are. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, your cell phone will tell them everything they need to know.
Exactly.
Bank accounts, what your interests are. Jeff Carlisle brought up something interesting. Who's an axe brother of ours. And every week I get a pop up on my phone saying what my hourly, weekly average was of looking at my phone.
Yeah, I got a lot of TikTok and DraftKings on mine.
So some of the stuff that that I've actually learned from some of my social media people that do our social media platform and stuff for us. It's like the average person's on their phone 6 hours a day. 6 hours.
That's about right.
Okay, so you understand just how much of people's lives this phone has become, and that was one of the things Jeff was talking about. Sometimes you need to back away, and, there's a setting. Apparently, you can go to your settings, and there's screen time.
Yeah.
I've been looking at mine every day. It's almost 4 hours.
We do this for our kids, but we don't do it for ourselves.
I just don't get it, man.
Yeah.
I don't get it. 2 hours is the most I allow our children. My son Rocco cannot play Xbox or anything during the week during school.
But
my older kids, no more than 2 hours.
But isn't that the point, though? You'll set it up for your kids, but not for yourself.
Yeah. Well, you're an adult. You're more responsible.
6 hours a day. I spend more time in a day. I spend more time on my phone than I do sleeping.
Right. What?
I only sleep for like 2.5, 3 hours.
What?
Seriously,
man, you need to go see somebody about that, man.
Right. I mean,
you need to sleep. All right, so let me tell you, scientifically, I know this because I have sleep apnea. Okay. Now I've had sleep apnea even before I was overweight and in shape. It's just some people have it. As my ENT told me, I have a very narrow throat, and so I have problems. Number one, because I have a deviated septum. I was born that way. It had nothing to do with getting in fist fights or
no. With a name like Rocco,
getting hit with a baseball when I was trying to feel a hard ground ball off the turf. So all these things and all this trauma has happened to my nose. Which, by the way, like my man Rocky said, "Hey, Doc, can you fix this nose for me?" I mean, my nose was like over here. I mean,
right.
I looked Jewish at one point. No offense against the Jewish people, but I mean, the Jewish people have big noses, right?
We were doing so good.
I'm telling you, it's true, though. It's not.
We were doing so good.
It is not a secret, okay?
Oh.
We know that to be factual. I'm not making fun of everybody. Certain people are certain ways. Italian people eat a lot of gravy and a lot of pasta. We're a little bit heavier than most people. Irish people, they drink a lot. What are you going to do?
We do.
We do. So everybody's got their own deal. But, man, I tell you, I started doing some sleep studies, when they first diagnosed me, and it's really bad for your heart and everything else.
It is.
But more importantly, lack of sleep is also sleep deprivity. You need to sleep 4 hours minimum for your body to go into REM. Okay? So if you don't sleep at least 4 hours, you're not resting your body.
So
shame on you.
No, I know.
And I'm going to talk to your wife, and we're going to get you at least 6 hours a night from now on.
She has been trying for 21
We're
years
going
now.
to work it out.
We're
Do
in
you
our
have problems sleeping?
No.
Take you some CBD oil. You
No,
don't
no,
want
no,
to
no.
turn me on to that.
No,
Now I'm
hang
taking
on,
CBD
hang
oil
on.
every night.
I don't need CBD oil. When I lay down at night, I fall asleep, and I'll wake up about 2 hours later. I'll wake up feeling completely rested and cannot go back to sleep
Do you fall
again.
asleep quick?
I fall asleep.
Like you put your head on the pillow, you out?
10 minutes.
Okay. Because like people like me that have sleep apnea and all the sleep apnea people shout out to you and your machines and your CPAP, whoop, whoop. But you literally sit down, and the minute you close your eyes, you're out.
Yeah.
And my wife would always be, before we even, my lovely bride, Jilly, she's out there watching, and I love you, darling. Poor girl, she married me. Could you imagine what she has to go through?
No, I couldn't.
Poor Jill. Say a prayer for her. Everybody out there, too. But I was going to tell you that, if you can't not get that amount of time of actually resting your body over extended periods of time, it damages and weakens your heart.
Right.
Which is really the main reason why people who do have CPAP machines have to go ahead and get this machine, because it's actually enabling you to actually sleep and get rest and rest your body. And then, when you do these sleep studies, another thing is that you fall asleep, you wake up, you go periods of time where you don't breathe at all.
Yep.
Like 10 seconds at a time where you'll stop breathing.
Yeah.
So it's really, really
That's
something.
that's why I lost the weight,
Well,
dude.
yeah, but I mean, if you're like me and you got issues with your nose, you got a narrow throat and all this stuff, you're going to get it no matter what.
I snore so much less now that I've lost the weight. I do the Breathe Right nasal strip, though, which
if you snore...
By the way, if you put on a Breathe Right nasal strip after Mardi Gras Day when you've been in the sun all day, guess what you get?
That hurts when you rip it off. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That wasn't a good idea.
No, that was poorly.
It's not a good look for you.
No, because I'm pale enough. Like,
you got to...
Between my paleness and my wife's paleness...
Speaking of Russians,
it's a wonder our kids aren't translucent.
I mean, you and... if you see my kids, because Jill's, 100%. Their families from the north in Italy, the northern Italians, they have a little bit of that German blood mixing.
Well, they get off the coast. And,
a little German blood mixing up there, too, so they get a little bit more fair skin. I mean, all of my kids, they look like they from Alaska, from freaking Canada. They look like a couple of Canucks. I mean, they're all fair skin. I'm the only one that's, like a bronze. I mean, I glisten when I'm in the sun, man.
You're also a Dalmatian.
But I mean, I do have web feet.
So
I used to be a swamp runner back in the day. I used to do that too. But I'll kill you. You get more sleep.
I will do that.
And if your wife is listening, I'm just joking. I know you let him sleep, because the next time I see her, she's gonna punch me in the nose. So I'm afraid of her. I'm definitely afraid of her.
Why are you afraid of my wife?
Because I'm afraid of my wife. I'm afraid of all wives. They scare me. They scare me. They know how I am. They're like, that guy, like I told you, that freaking narcissist right there. I didn't even know what narcissism was until about 2 years ago.
Really?
And my wife's like, well, I mean, a kid. I never really looked into it much,
Yeah.
She said, you need to read this.
Are you a narcissist?
Borderline.
I don't think.
Borderline.
Ego, yes. Narcissism, no.
I guess it depends on the day of the week. Day of the week. Depends on the day of the week.
All right.
You get me on a bad day, I'm full-blown narcissist. According to my wife. This is my wife. My wife's got a master's degree. She's the one telling me all this stuff. I'm just following her. I believe her.
I'm
like,
like wise choice. You made a wise choice, my friend.
She could take me to
it's
a mirage in the desert and tell me to drink the sand, and I think it's water, man. Look, I ain't arguing with her anymore. She's been with me 23 years.
No. You said take you out in the desert. I got a whole different image in my head of like Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro. You're warned, pal. You're warned.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. When did I need you? Let me tell you something right now. You Jew.
Oh, no!
I'm sorry. I did it again.
This got really anti-Semitic really fast.
I am not. You know. Anybody
no, I
out there
know.
that's listening,
that was a movie quote.
I'm kidding. One of my best friends is Jewish. And,
Don't dig.
It
was a movie quote.
It's a quote from a movie, but I'm just telling you. I made a joke about the noses. I'm going to get out of here. My phone's already vibrating. My friend's going to be like, I didn't really appreciate.
You never
that.
did plug in your phone, did you?
I didn't, but I got a
right.
charge in the truck. I just was
All
going
right.
to plug it in while we were here.
We're almost to lunchtime.
I got a boat, man. It's 9:24. Rocco's got po' boys to make on this Friday during Lent.
Black
3348. 3358. I'm sorry. Drusilla Lane, 248-1999. I'll let you do the catch lines. Go
If
ahead,
you
do it.
don't know where Rocco's is yet, I can't help you. And
But
yes,
make these po' boys.
if you put a Rocco's po' boy on top of your head, you will beat a hole through the roof. You will beat your brains out trying to get at it with your tongue.
That's correct.
Y'all have a great weekend.
Remember,
Enjoy your Lent.
In order to make a great New Orleans style po' boy,
You gotta be from New Orleans.
you go.
All right, I'm gonna walk around to turn off the YouTube because my producer has long since left. Y'all have a great weekend. We will see you Monday.
Peace.